I'm currently uh in a
Okay.
bedroom.
You're currently in the bedroom?
Yeah,
Okay.
my apartment is having renovations, so I've had to find a different place to hold up. But for right now, I'm okay.
I'm in
Uh,
my bedroom. Look at all this
oh,
crap.
it's hard to see behind me, I think, but this is the library and music room.
I see, yeah, I see books on shelves.
You can see the bookshelves, and this here.
Is it
I don't
Theremin?
know if you can see that very well.
Is it
No,
Themin?
that
Oh,
is actually a video game, 80s style video game console case that Min built as a prop for a LARP.
Okay.
okay.
It's
Cool.
uh, it's facing sideways, so it's kind of hard to see it. But anyway,
Ooh,
that's
Nice.
it's got the two
Oh, I see, I
controllers.
see.
Yeah, it's got to find them. I got to find a better place for it, but for the moment, it's there. But that's
and
it
send
was for a video
something.
it was for a LARP set in an arcade in the 80s.
Oh,
Okay.
Um,
here was the
You
gun I
know the
offered you, by the way.
I saw.
Mr.
Beautiful.
Edgeworth. This was the pistol I offered you.
Yep.
Ooh,
Yeah.
oh my,
Took that away.
Yeah.
that's beautiful.
It's a
You know?
toy from the
Do you know the
80s.
legend of? You know the legend of
It's a great
Polybius?
toy.
Of
The
who?
video game the video game called Polybius.
Yes.
We
I know
leaned
about
into
that.
that.
Okay, yeah. Ross Payton's written a scenario about that too, or two, or Delta Green did some stuff about that too.
I would figure
Mm,
Delta Green would. It's
Mm-hmm.
very up their alley. But the joke
oh,
in the game is this game is called Strabo, named for the writer who translated Polybius.
hmm,
Although Strabo
mm,
sounds like a
print
video game from the 80s anyway.
server profile.
it does. Hold on, I'm putting something in the. Here, I'll show people what I've been working on in the general chat.
Oh,
I've been
okay.
making trees.
Oh, save the changes then. There we go.
Been making tiny terrain trees
Oh, are they
for
red?
various tabletop uses.
Nice, very
Where
cool.
did you put this?
It's in gaming
Yeah,
text,
Give me in text.
I do not see.
and down at the bottom in Regency Cthulhu, just above us.
Oh, okay. Gaming text info. There we are. Oh, there it
Oh,
is.
I moved.
Oh, well, those are cool.
Thank
Not quite sure
you.
what one does with them, but they're cool.
Use them for minis.
Oh, you pop them down for terrain for
Mm-hmm.
wargaming or for any tabletop game that uses minis.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense
I'll
then.
be I'll be coating them with clay to simulate bark, and then I'm going to attach some fake foliage.
Nice.
I
Those
think
could be fun.
scale wise, they're more like redwoods.
Trees
I
be
suppose it
Well,
big.
you
depends
still
on the
want to
size of
have
the figure,
you
right?
still want to have room so people can maneuver around them at least.
Mm, mm,
I guess it really depends on the
Can't
size of the figure
tell.
you're using. If you were
mm,
using larger figures, they'd be smaller trees.
25 millimeter is the
exactly.
way to go, or 28.
As I remember, they came in various sizes.
Mm,
I have no idea what sizes they come in these days. Yeah, no,
even some
I mean,
unusual sizes.
yeah, I know some people who play Warhammer, but I tend to stay far away from that because I would like to be able
Sure.
to pay things like the mortgage bill and the utilities.
Very fair.
So I
I
stay away
have
from Warhammer for that reason.
I have a standing understanding with my friends that if I ever start building an actual 40K army, they have every right to lock me up and take away my access to my credit and debit card.
It's smart, really is. Because the
Gosh,
whole
the
yeah,
other day had to stop me from buying a static grass applicator.
He was going to spend over $150 for static grass.
I didn't. I would
What?
not.
That little grass you put on the base of minis?
Yeah.
How did you get like a handful of it?
No, so
It's like
there's
a
a
bag.
tool that you there's a tool that uses static electricity. It's a static electricity generator that makes the grass stand up straight.
Oh, we used to blow on it to do that,
Yeah, you could.
or spend $140. Put the glue down, drop
Or
the
you
grass
could
on,
use
get it
you could
looking
also
good,
use
and
a
then you're
50
done.
cent balloon to
Oh
make a
yeah,
static
yeah,
electricity. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Now, if you want to spend $140, go get a theremin.
yeah. Ooh,
That's what I want.
Mm. Theremin.
this is my thing.
The theremin. That's a musical instrument that uses
Yeah,
electricity.
yeah.
You
Oh,
know.
it's you. Every '50s horror movie uses it, and
I
every science
want
fiction
one
movie uses it.
so bad. Yeah, I was a little disappointed with Forbidden Planet's music with a theremin because it wasn't really music; it was just noise.
Yeah, it was future music.
No, it was terrible. I was so disappointed.
It's the music of the
No.
future.
Oh.
But in the future, there's going to be rocket ships, and yet gender relations are still in the '50s. It's that kind of future
Xena.
where nothing has actually changed except people travel around in rocket ships or flying saucers, and
Could
yet
be.
somehow
Could
it's
be.
still the '50s.
Love that movie.
And people even joke about getting drunk because it's still the '50s. Good movie, just very parts of that movie are very dated.
Oh yeah, parts of every movie are dated though, so
This is very true.
gotta love it anyway.
Yeah, well, it was a great movie. Just
Oh yeah,
wasn't it
that's what
just
I wanted to write down.
it was just a couple of years ago that Anne Francis died. I remember reading about that a while back. That's gonna bug me. I wonder how many years it is now. Because I could swear I remember fairly recently reading about Anne Francis dying.
No idea.
Oh no, it was 2011. It was a while.
Recently,
For some reason, I thought it was more recent.
Kevin's got that cellophane brain going. Yeah, it just happened
Oh,
yesterday.
Oh,
well, I
I
always
got
I
you.
always
Yeah.
feel the need to look those things up.
Stay there. Stay
It's
there.
nice to live in a world where you can, because otherwise things like that just bug me all night
Oh yeah.
until I get to look them up. Yeah, no, she's been dead for a while. Anyways, so shall we get things started for tonight then?
Sure.
All right.
I'm stealing.
We have a
I
date
think
to plan.
yeah, I think that's where
We
we left
do.
off. Was one of you had a date anyway? The rest of you were planning on
Feeding
tagging
ourselves throughout
along.
the. Yeah.
Yes, in the arcade.
Yes.
Yes, we are meeting Miss Delac. Well, I'm meeting Miss
Delacourt, you
Delacourt
are.
while everyone else is lurking.
Yes,
Yes.
we're,
Now,
we're stalking you.
we should discuss what you want to do before we go.
Mhm.
What do you hope
hmm
to accomplish with the meeting?
Well, we do know that she met the deceased Mr. Buck White
Yes,
before he met his god.
Or avoided meeting his god, as
she.
the case may be.
I believe she
Or
was
avoided
also.
meeting his god.
He didn't he say that she was acquainted with the priest.
Yes, she's also a balloonist.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's the Church of
Caleb
Starry
Brown.
Wisdom.
Caleb Brown is the priest.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
do you want to try to actually find out anything from her specifically, or just use this as like grounds for further meetings at this point? Or do you wish or do you wish to try to
Well, the
convince her
first
that you and she are interested in the same, whatever what is it, that Buckeye was talking about, the things in the air.
Well, you could,
suppose the
find out what's
first
to be found out about her before you do this. Just saying.
We
yeah,
should what find out about
yeah.
her.
Yeah.
We
You
should
say
we should
research
look
her.
her up. We should find her
Yeah, we should have at
reputation.
least a day or two,
Uh,
right, before this
Oh
meeting.
yeah.
yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah. These things take time.
I would think that the first thing I should try to do is ascertain her motivation. I mean, she did agree to meet with me, so that at least implies some kind of curiosity.
Hmm. Oh, I have something that you need to do first. Can you find out from Dr. Blythe the name of his maid who he dismissed and why she was dismissed?
Hmm,
Because what if she's Anna Whitehall? The name that Delacourt gave
Yeah, the
in
alias she
prison.
used.
hmm,
If she can disguise herself, she may have been the maid. And if she's the maid, then she may be working directly with whoever stole
tablet.
the
Or she may have
thingy.
stolen the
The tablet, yes, the tablet.
tablet.
It was an idea that occurred to me as I was falling asleep the other night.
Uh, we can send a message to Dr. Blythe asking about the name of his maid.
Or you can simply catch him if he comes back to the club.
Oh yeah,
Or we can
comes to the
simply
club.
catch him
Okay,
if he
okay.
comes back to the club.
So
Yep.
I'll keep
I
an
didn't
eye
know if
out for
he'd
him too.
be
I can talk to him as well.
Yeah.
recuperating or not.
Well, if you don't see him at the club in the next day or two, you can always either go around his place or send a message.
Hmm.
Easy enough to do.
How do we find out about somebody? Like sneakily.
Well, if you want to do it sneakily,
At least
first
not too obviously.
start with the who's who, because her
We
family
looked
is
in that.
definitely on that list.
We already looked
Yeah,
in that, and we found out.
that's the social register. So that'll
Right.
tell you things like she's 23 years of age,
Mm-hmm.
she's unmarried and has not been married, and has a, based on reading between the lines, something of a disinterest in marriage.
Hmm.
We also found out that she is like doesn't. How did you put that? She doesn't like the social standings or. Um,
Well, she doesn't seem to care much. She does. She participates in society
that's it.
only as far as she's sort of required to do so. I mean,
Hmm.
she's already staked out a position far outside what women are expected to be doing.
Does it say where she lives? Like, is there a
Uh,
Delacourt estate?
the family has two houses. Their ancestral suite, or I should say their ancestral site, is actually near Liverpool. She almost never goes there.
Hmm.
They also have a townhouse in Earl's Court at number 24 Earl's Court.
That's in London.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's where she tends to stay during the season. She shares that with her mother, Marianne, and sometimes her brother Lewis.
Okay.
Although Lewis is not always around for the season. And Lewis, incidentally, has a reputation for being, what's the polite word, a wastrel?
Oh.
I think he's once been called a rogue.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Although it would generally be considered unwise to call that to him to his face.
Wait, is this in the Who's
Because,
Who?
no, that's the kind of stuff you find out by talking to people.
Yeah, yeah. I'll
What
talk to
we do
people.
know is that Lewis is her older brother, that he is married,
Mm.
and that by talking to people, we discover that he's a wastrel. He blows a lot of money at the gambling tables. And the reason people tolerate him is he is reputed to be an absolute crack shot, drunk or sober.
Is he in? He's not in the club.
No,
What is his relationship with his sister? Are they close?
Hmm.
we don't know.
Can I?
The two of them rarely, if ever, talk about each other.
Hmm.
Although there is, don't repeat it to his face, but a running joke among some of the seedier places in London that there is no relationship between them because his sister is the only woman in London he hasn't fucked yet.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Never say that to his face, thus the bit about how good a shot he is.
That'd be rude.
Yeah, but that would end in a duel,
That would be
which is
rude.
the whole business about why you should be worried about his ability with a pistol.
Oh, I'm not worried about his ability with his pistol. I would
That's
never
why
be
people
rude
don't.
to him.
That's why
Never.
people don't say such things, in part because he has a bad temper, is a very good shot, and has the sort of reputation of suggesting that if you started a duel with him, he'd be willing to kill.
Oh, dear.
Largely because he's just doesn't think more than 10 seconds ahead. So if you were
Hmm.
worried about, like, you could get hanged for that, he's not,
Well, he's rich too.
hasn't crossed his mind because tomorrow doesn't enter into his mind much.
Okay, but he's also well off. He's very wealthy. He's part of,
Uh,
is he gentry?
he's running through the Delacorte fortune more rapidly than he should.
Is she dependent upon the fortune?
Technically, yes,
Okay.
although she actually has made some of her own money in performing ballooning expeditions.
Okay.
So while she used the family money to buy her first balloon, she actually has probably a better income than he does at this point. Don't ever say
Okay.
that in public either.
No, no, no. His income is probably her income is more stable, basically, in the
Oh, she
fact
made
that.
some money performing exhibitions and whatnot,
Okay.
and as far as we know, she's banked that,
Hmm.
and so she has a fallback position if he manages to ruin the Delacorte family.
Does anybody mention a link between her and this Church of Starry Wisdom?
Not that anybody's aware of.
Okay.
I mean, plenty of people have seen him in the East End, but they've always assumed that he's gone there to meet up with whatever prostitute he's with tonight,
Hmm.
not for some kind of religious purpose.
That's where the church is, the East End.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're in Limehouse, which is part of the East End. And to be polite, a not nice neighborhood.
Yeah. What it?
On the other hand, Limehouse is fairly well known for its houses of prostitution. So if you're Louis Delacourt, it's a great place for discretion, which explains his presence in that neighborhood on a regular basis. In other
Okay.
words, no one, if there is a connection between him and that church, no one's noticed it
And
because
not
he has plenty of other good reasons to visit that neighborhood.
and not with her either.
Certainly not with her.
Okay.
As far as we know, Helen Delacourt has never been in that neighborhood, or at least no one's ever seen her there.
The only connection we know is that uh uh she
Wait,
visited
Buckwhite,
uh
right? Jack Buckwhite.
Buckwhite before his
Hmm.
Yeah.
death.
Yeah.
Yes, she visited him at Tyburn Jail
Well,
using an alias.
according to him, she did.
Mhm.
The
Yeah, we
And
don't know that
she
that's true.
Right.
He said so, and
Yeah,
that
it
she
still
used an
seems
and
alias.
she
weird that if she didn't, that well, he picked my name out of a hat too.
Yeah,
she
and
also referenced the visitors.
Oh, that's right.
yeah,
She referenced things from the air
So
or something in her letter to you.
and
That's where
notice
the
and
connection came from.
she would not take a promenade with you in the park or at Pall Mall,
Right.
but would at Cheapside.
exactly. She wants to minimize the amount of time she spends outside, suggesting that she's at least partially aware of whatever is going on that we have no idea about at this point.
Oh, notice Buckwhite was afraid of something in the air.
Mm.
He didn't want to hang.
Yeah, he wasn't afraid of death, but he was afraid of hanging.
Oh, should we watch Buckwhite's grave, or
Oh,
should
that reminds me,
someone,
by the way.
or do we
Uh,
in the newspaper?
no, that does remind me. Dr. Payne will also receive in the next day
Oh no.
a letter that actually comes from a fellow who identifies himself as Mr. Hubbard, who is a jailer.
Okay.
And
Do I
what
recognize the
he's
name at all?
no,
Okay.
in fact, he identifies himself at the beginning of the letter, pointing out that you do not know him.
Okay.
He's a jailer at Tyburn Jail, and the reason he's writing to you is because Mr. Buckwhite wanted him to do this and communicated to Mr. Hubbard that Buckwhite had 3 shillings and asked if you would be so kind as to arrange a burial for him that he requests be made at least 10 feet deep.
Okay. So I received this letter. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna alert
In
these
other words,
the other
in
gentlemen.
other words, Mr. Hubbard is the go-between, nothing more.
Right.
Who
Right. Right.
said what Buckwhite wants is for you to buy him a deeper grave, and he says he sent along enough money that you could
Okay.
do that. So he's
Uh,
not asking for charity. He actually had 3 shillings.
I will note. I will send a letter back that I will have it arranged immediately, and then I
Okay,
will
and is
do my
he?
best to contact my friends, my associates in this terrible endeavor. To
You'll find them at the club as well, I'm sure.
yeah, yeah,
It's a good
yeah.
place to
I'll
meet.
talk to them and let them know what's happening. And
Would we be able to arrange a private room in the club for us to discuss our happenings?
Uh, Private, actually, yeah, because you remember you can take a room to stay over.
Hmm.
Any club member can rent a room to stay,
Illings
and
Illingsworth is
there's no
actually staying
reason.
there, isn't he?
I believe
Yeah,
one
I
of you
believe
actually
so.
is,
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can.
which means there's no reason not to invite people up to that room, and you
Hmm.
can lock the door and talk there
Yeah.
if you like. Each
Um,
room
Okay.
also includes a bell pull, so if you need a servant to bring you anything, there's a handy bell pull.
Could
It
I
triggers the
also
bell
have
downstairs.
could I also have had a dog with me as well? Like a Great Dane?
Not in the club.
Not in the club. Okay.
They do not permit animals in the club.
All right.
The ones that are being served. The only
Josh,
animals
were you saying something?
are being roasted.
Gotcha.
Fricassee, fried, beef Wellington, etc., etc., etc.
Okay.
question from last session. Going back to the graves. Is it common practice at this point to have iron cages over graves?
No,
Oh, it's not. It's not yet.
it's done. It's done occasionally, but it's not common. Never was common. Just some people wanted it to deter grave robbers.
Hmm.
So all that Buckwhite wants is he wants a grave
10 feet
that's
deep.
deeper. At least he said at least 10 feet, implying basically spend all of his money to dig it to have it dug as deep as his buddy will buy. In other words, he has 3 shillings. How much grave digging service will this buy?
I can add some to that if need be. I don't.
That's what he seems to want. Dig it as deep as I can afford.
Hmm. Yes,
Uh,
I was planning on doing it. What about
now that
cremation? That's not a thing yet, is it? Unless you basically build
hmm,
a giant pyre or some
yeah,
bullshit.
you can set
Crema-
someone on fire.
Cremation is uncommon,
Right.
and
There's no.
generally among your social set, generally associated with places like India. In other words, it's a thing Hindus do. It's
Oh
not a
yeah.
thing
Okay.
Englishmen.
Okay. Okay. Yes. So I was gonna
Now
do
that
it.
we sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
uh now that we've got some time and we have a lead, I was wondering if I could look into any sort of folkloric connection to a fear of the sky.
For that, you're welcome to say visit someplace like the Mercury or the British Museum and make a library use roll.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
Uh,
but yeah.
would it be possible? Would anyone like to accompany me and potentially help aid me in my endeavor and grant me a bonus die?
Library use.
Hopefully, if
I'll
if it's
Or
I'll
allowed.
I'll, I'll chip in. I have good library.
or spread out to other places. The Stationers Company, for instance, for ballads and folklore. Other reading rooms. I mean,
I
there's a
could
number
I
of
I
places
could
to
go to
look.
other reading rooms for you. What are we looking for? Folklore about things from the sky?
Any kind of connection. They have some kind. There's some sort of underlying paranoia of the sky
Hmm.
that seems to be a uniting thread. I just want to understand like what kind of superstitions might be motivating them.
Hmm. Well, I've got to arrange this burial, and I want to talk to my priest
You can- by all
briefly, but
means,
then I'll then
Mr.
I'll
Baker has agreed.
then
Mr. Baker has agreed to join me.
I'll go look at some reading rooms as well.
Yeah, and if you're
Okay.
willing to arrange the burial, by the way, you don't need to take much time on that yourself.
Okay.
That's the kind of thing where you can simply write to a funeral director.
Oh, cool.
Um,
That's what I do.
with your credit rating, someone
Yeah.
let's say Ellis and Sons,
Hmm.
they're discreet, and
Okay.
basically write them, sending them along a draft or a check for the cost,
Yes.
and telling them what is wanted, and they will, if you're willing to throw in a little bit more,
Yeah.
they will do it with discretion.
Yeah. I will bribe them £5.
Because
Ooh,
that is why
that's a
they
lot.
make a, a business essentially
Hmm.
of carrying out those sorts of things for people who have died and who do not want a reputation to follow them.
Yes. Okay. That's
So
exact. I'll send them a letter. Uh,
if one of your family ends up dead in a brothel and you don't want that publicly known,
yeah. Call them.
they are the kind of people who will make that go away.
Plus, I want him buried deep. I want him. If somebody tries to rob that grave, I want him to have to go to a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
If we see
So they
zombie
will
Whitehall, what the hell's his name?
Buckwhite.
Zombie
Buck or
Buckwhite. If we
Buck
see zombie Buckwhite
Buckwhite,
later, I
yeah.
want it at least to have been some kind of an effort on these bad guys.
Honestly, what it feels like, I mean, if you read between what Hubbard said, he just wants to be as far away from the sky as possible.
That's fine. I I want him as far away from the top of the ground as possible.
He wants as much dirt between his remains and whatever is up there.
We're all gonna have to make sanity checks when. Wow, it's weird. It's like there was an explosion in the grave, and um, I will also hit reading rooms, looking for some of these occult books to help out Edgeworth, and I can do a library
Okay.
use
So
if I have
everyone who
time.
wishes can make a library use roll
Okay.
over the course of the next day or
for
two.
the for Mr. Baker's aid in in
Yes.
my efforts, would I get a bonus die?
Well, he should roll as well and see how much he can help you.
Regular
Never
success
mind.
here.
Okay. If both of you
I
succeed, then
just
you can sort of synergize.
I just like to fish.
Illingsworth. Illingsworth went to the newspaper stand. Nothing here.
Well, I'll say he might have tried to help, but he was no help. So
What'd you get?
Library use, I got a hard success. I got 22. My threshold was 26.
So a hard success, a regular success, a failure,
yeah,
and one more. Who hasn't?
Baker.
Yeah,
That'd
come on.
be
I have a regular success.
Okay. So
ooh.
with that, if you're working with Mr. Illingsworth, you can either take it as your own success or give him a rethrow. But I think since you already have a hard success,
you
you're
mean
probably better off to just take them both and get more done.
Hmm.
you're
So,
talking Edgeworth, not Illingsworth, correct?
oh
Yeah.
yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
sorry about that.
No,
So
you're fine.
between a lot of you, the problem here is that when it comes to superstitions and folklore involving things that fly, you're dealing with the problem of too much information, not
Yeah.
too little.
Mhm.
So there are dragons. Of course, there's the classic St. George dragon. Then there's the supposed sighting of a number of them in Würzburg in 1642, sort of thing. So it's a mixture of things that happened in the documentable past and things that happen in the folkloric past. There's rocks and huge birds that come from Arabian mythology. There's falls of dead animals. One reported, for instance, in France in either 1648 or 1649, depending on which source you trust, where a bunch of dead birds fell out of the sky. So there's a lot of these things, none of which point you directly to anything immediate. The other problem, and this is where the hard success will pay off, is if you're connecting it back to the Enzilu tablet, what you're looking for is something Babylonian,
I'm not doing that.
and there you start to get into flying monsters like Manticore.
Hmm.
So there's nothing, no direct pointers here, nothing that leaps out and says this,
Okay.
and that's in its own way kind of frustrating.
What about multiple eyes on the same side of the head, like the
That
tattoo that he had on his back?
That's a
yeah,
good point.
That was what I
yeah.
was kind of trying to focus
Wow.
on, like really
Under
weird
biblical
folklore. But I
angels.
only got a regular success, so
Yeah, but at least one of you had a hard success. So
Edgeworth.
the feel you get there, of course, is from the angel, the type described in
Oh,
the Bible,
right.
and that's where that starts to click a bit because depending on who you trust and what translation you use, you could theoretically get to the word visitor from the word angel by tuning the various translations, or even more so, the description fits the kind of being like those who come down, which again, tough translation. But for instance, one translation of the phrase Nephilim, which occurs in the Old Testament, usually translated as giants, can mean literally those who descend. So,
Oh.
and in one variant you'll see, which is the kind of thing that doesn't get a whole lot of play. It's the work of a German scholar, von Leibniz, who argues that the Hebrew Nephilim means literally visitors who come from above. Not giant, but visitor. So there are these
Hmm.
connections there. It's just they're kind of tenuous. Von Leibniz, for instance,
Okay.
has a reputation for being a crackpot and apparently applied to join the beginnings of the Monumenta Germaniae Historica and was rejected because they think that he's a bad scholar and kind of an idiot. In other words, they don't trust his German, never mind his Hebrew.
Was it the Mercury that had some certain rare books,
Mm-hmm.
like super rare?
Yeah.
And Edgeworth is there right now, isn't
Yep.
he? Okay.
Yeah. And it's there that you found of von Leibniz.
Okay. So he did access
Yeah.
those. Cool, cool, cool.
Yeah. That's where you find stuff like that. Now remember, the prize of the Mercury collection is Dee's notes on Necronomicon.
Ooh, look at that one. Yeah, study
And
that.
that is an unpublished manuscript.
Just skim it so you can get the sanity loss and the mythos.
You also need several days advance notice to get access to it. In
Oh
other words,
yeah.
you have to apply and then wait for the caretakers to reply appropriately. It is not public access, even for those who are members of the reading room.
Right,
There's a
right.
collection
Yeah.
like that. About a dozen books they own that are not. You have to go through a process to
Yeah.
gain access to
That
them.
makes sense. Do it, Connor.
Mm.
Read the
Mostly the
Necronomicon.
incredibly valuable ones. It's not Necronomicon. That's Dee's notes on Necronomicon.
Oh, it's probably pretty
Mm.
close.
Yep.
I'm not there. I'm the devil on your shoulder.
It's Necronomicon adjacent. But this is all fascinating.
Now, the other thing you'll find, which may or may not be relevant when it comes to flying things, is two references in the Kitab al-Rabat to winged monsters that supposedly descend from the sky. That al-Rabat describes as the size of a man and having no face. That he claims that he encountered several years after his visit to the Great Library. A place that he describes as specifically as beyond the sight of God. Like he castigates himself for going there because he found a place where God couldn't see him. And points out that in the Great Library, the rule he understood was never look up.
Oh.
And he did not. So he does not know what happens to those who do. He was told by a woman who he apparently met in Acre, who understood the library, who told him, if you ever get there, the one thing you must never do is look upward. He describes it as a religious experience, that one should keep one's eyes downcast in humbleness. In the same paragraph that he describes it being beyond the sight of God. Now, again, the translation may be an issue, because what you've got here is a Latin translation of the Arabic original.
Mm-hmm.
As the
I'm
Al-Rabat,
translating that in English.
yeah, and the Al-Rabat does not exist outside of a Latin translation, except in the original Arabic. There is no current English translation.
Has the Rosetta Stone been discovered by now?
Not
That's a
a
good
couple of years ago,
question.
I believe. I think 1804. I'm gonna check that date as well.
I'm
What?
checking real
What?
quick.
Okay, did you?
1799. It was
Okay, I
discovered
was
by
off by
French
5 years.
soldiers. Yeah. Yeah,
So
you were
yeah,
close. You were very close.
I knew it was it was French soldiers who came with Napoleon's army. But yeah, so there's an interest in all things Egyptian. But this is not what we're talking about. Babylon, not Egypt. And as for the nice thing about that is, some of those guys who served with Napoleon's army probably speak and can read Arabic. In other words, if you could get your hands on a complete copy of the Kitab al-Rabat, you could probably find someone who could translate it, assuming they're willing to take on that kind of a job.
Mm.
Do I have time this day to go talk to my priest here in London? My Anglican priest? Or have I used up a lot of time with the other stuff?
Uh, well, there's plenty of time to do that, to do what you want to do
Okay.
before you, because remember, you guys were arranging the meeting with Miss Delacourt, so that meeting will take place when you want it to.
Okay. Well, I'm just
So if
see
there's
if
stuff you want to do first, this is the time to do it.
yeah. My priest father, whoever, um, I want to know if he
Uh,
knows anything about this church in Limehouse. I've heard these weird rumors about St. Anne's Church. That's not an Anglican church, is it? And if
oh,
he knows anything about,
so you're going to the church that you're a member of.
mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. What church do you attend?
I don't know.
I mean, you actually have membership in the church?
Well,
I
I'm
guess you
Anglican,
do.
so I would have let's see, yeah, I'm Anglican, so we go to church every Sunday.
Okay. So
Whoever's
yeah, you
offering, you're
probably,
supposed to go.
that also means you probably actually contribute, which means
Oh yeah.
you have regular seats.
Ooh,
Generally, with a church like that, you actually pay, and essentially you rent a pew.
nice. Okay, yeah, I
In other
gotta.
words, you're paying the church a monthly or yearly fee,
Mm-hmm.
and in
Yeah,
exchange, you have guaranteed seats at each service.
yeah.
You
I'm
don't
just
need to get there at any time. You always know where you're going to sit.
yeah. So I'm just trying to find out if he has time to speak to me for a few moments because
It'll take a bit of getting to, but the man who can probably help you most with that is
mm-hmm.
actually not the minister, but rather a deacon,
Ooh, okay. Well, I
a
wouldn't know
fellow.
that. So the minister, does he
Well,
tell me I
well,
should
that's the
probably
point.
speak
Is
to the
that
deacon?
you talk to the warden, who tells you that it's Deacon Aloysius,
Okay.
who's the man you want to talk to about that.
Well, I'd love to speak to him.
And as for Aloysius the deacon, well, it becomes clear very quickly why he's the man to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
Limehouse, born and bred,
Oh, okay,
got the scars
nice.
to prove it. Yeah, he's made it out and is now a church deacon.
Capital.
Yeah,
Has he
and
heard? Have you heard of this church, this St. Anne's Church? I've heard
very much so.
strange stories. I was. What is the Anglican? What's the position of the Anglican Church on this church? I mean,
He doesn't know the church's official position.
mm,
What he does know is that St. Anne's offered a fire about 25 years ago, and the parish never really rebuilt, which means the church property ended up for sale. And so he doesn't know the people who bought it, but he knows the Anglican Church no longer considers it a functional church. In other words, they effectively decommissioned it.
Mm.
mm. So that's
Uh,
legal in England at this time?
oh yeah, the church can sell property.
No, 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 no. For people to just say, "Hey, we're a church,"
Yeah.
and come. Okay, I didn't.
Well,
I wasn't sure. I know that they're not as quite as open about that as other
remember, if you're not
places.
Anglican, there are certain things you can't do.
Okay,
But you can join any religion you want. You can
okay,
make one up if you want.
right.
Just
That's what I was thinking.
if you say I'm in the church of my own invention here, that's great. Want to get into Oxford? No, you don't.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Want to serve in Parliament?
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
What would
So you can
happen
be
if I said
anyone.
I was agnostic?
You wouldn't be able to serve in Parliament. You wouldn't be able to attend a court. For instance, your testimony in court might not be valid. So if someone owed you money and you sued them, you might not be able to collect it.
Okay.
If you might not be able to work for the government or join the armed forces, because there's a lot of things where you have to take an oath, and if you're not a member of the Anglican Church, your oath is invalid.
Gotcha.
Mm.
So it's not like they're going to burn you or set you on fire or something, but there are certain jobs and things you will not be eligible for if you're not Anglican. You can't matriculate from Oxford or Cambridge University. That sort of stuff. So you can join any religion you want. I mean, how many religions are there in England? How many sects of Puritans are there? There are a lot of them. But joining one of these sects means you are losing some of the privileges of citizenship. That's what happened to William Penn, the guy who Pennsylvania is named for.
Hmm.
He threw away his college career by becoming a Quaker. They threw him out of school. because he joined the Quakers. The thing people do. Must have made
Okay.
his dad. Must have made his dad super happy. His dad sent him off to college, and he came back as part of a cult. It's every parent's
Hmm.
nightmare. Your kid comes back from college talking weird. Now he's in a cult. Yeah,
Okay.
that
So
actually happened.
when next we meet, I will
Yeah,
relay this information.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, Aloysius, incidentally, doesn't know much about Caleb Brown,
oh yeah.
uh, but he believes that Brown is the same man used to run a gang of thieves. He would never, of course, say that, out loud outside of this private meeting with you.
Right.
But he thinks he's seen Brown at a distance once or twice, and he thinks he's the same man he used to know, who was basically the head of a group of thieves.
Does he know that man's name? Like the group of thieves'
We'll call
name?
it, well, his name was Caleb Brown, so I think he's the
Oh.
same man.
Okay.
That he thinks it's just
Okay.
Caleb Brown has moved
Okay.
on to a more, as some people would joke, he's moved on to a more honest career. He used to be a thief. Now he's a little less honest. He's a preacher.
Okay.
He
And
used to take your money honestly with a gun.
yeah.
Now he does it dishonestly with religion.
And so the Bow Street Runners know about this church. They've been watching it, or at least they're like
Yes.
trying to deal with these people. So they know something's
Yeah.
going on there. So talking to them isn't going to get us
And
anywhere.
there, yeah. Well, there, if you do, the only thing you get from them is they're convinced that thieves operate out of this church,
And we already learned
and
that.
that it's possible. Yeah, and it's possible that the church building itself is being used as a collection point where stolen goods are taken,
Oh,
evaluated, and then resold.
does Aloysius know anyone who used to work at the church? Or who used to be
Not
part
named.
of the church? It was like 25 years ago, wasn't it? That it
Yeah,
burned down.
no, he
Okay.
doesn't. He wasn't a member. Wasn't then.
All right.
He knows Caleb Brown. He thinks Caleb Brown was a thief
Mm-hmm.
and led a band of thieves.
Interesting.
Oddly enough, he's pretty sure that Jack Buckwhite or someone like that was one of those thieves at one point. Although it may not be the same man.
Okay.
A Buckwhite, maybe a Timothy Buckwhite. In other words, maybe a relative of Jack's, or maybe one of them adopted the name from the other. He's not sure.
Mm.
Question mark. Okay.
And
Well,
the other man he remembers is a man who called himself Mr. Graves,
Mr.
who was
Graves.
was Caleb Brown's enforcer.
Can he
He's
give me?
reasonably certain that Graves is not his real name, and that from what he's heard, many of the younger thieves are afraid of him. He's basically Brown's
Mm.
muscle.
Can he
But
give me a description of Brown and a description of Graves? At least so I'm like hair color, if they have beards,
yeah,
that kind of thing.
well,
Just
Caleb
basics.
Brown, I can tell you, middle-aged, mostly bald,
Oh, that'll
uh,
help.
with what he describes as an aquiline nose, surprisingly straight teeth,
Oh, that's a dead
and
giveaway in England.
yeah, and describes him as having a piercing set of eyes, sort of man who looks through you rather than at you,
Mostly bald. What color is the hair that he still has?
mostly gray.
Gray.
When he knew him, his hair was brown.
Right.
These days, what's left of it is mostly gray.
How about Mr. Graves? Does he have a? Does he know what he looks
Oh,
like?
you can't miss him.
Oh,
He's, as far as Aloysius knows, he's the largest man he's ever seen.
so we're talking
Describing
like
him as near. He thinks he's near to 7 feet tall.
okay, it's Andre the Giant, basically.
Yeah, someone
Okay.
like he stands out in the crowd because he's big. And there are those who claim that he once lifted one end of a horse cart with his hands. He just picked it up and
Oh dear.
did that with it. Whether that's true, he doesn't know, but he's heard a story that he did that once. That he's strong enough to pick up one end of a cart.
Mr. Graves.
This is why, of course, that story may be exactly the sort of thing that he circulates if his job is enforcer.
Mm-hmm.
He wants people to think he's ridiculously strong.
All right.
And his job essentially is making sure that those who steal, when they were part of Caleb Brown's mob back in the day, delivered the goods to the boss and didn't
Mm.
hold out on it.
Well, aside from big, I mean, he's got dark hair, light hair,
Uh,
beard.
Blonde, clean shaven, and is sometimes seen wearing a pair of tinted eyeglasses.
That's really weird and rare, right?
Yeah, you don't see many of those.
Unlike except blind men will. Are blind men wearing stuff like that
O-
yet?
Occasionally.
Okay.
And sometimes you'll see people wearing them for reading purposes or for fashion purposes.
Okay.
In a neighborhood like that, a fashion accessory like that will stand out as well
Yeah,
because
yeah,
that's
it
not
will.
cheap.
How dangerous is it? Do I even know to like go to Limehouse for people like us?
If you are unlikely to be murdered.
Yeah.
There is a non-zero chance, though, that you will be taken advantage of or robbed.
Okay.
Like there's murder tends to attract the wrong kind of attention,
Right. But
and so many of the
pickpockets
inhabitants, yeah, but
or mugged.
pickpockets and thieves
Yeah.
are fairly common. And if
Okay.
they see people who look wealthy and are not with somebody, you are going to attract the wrong kind of attention in the form of people who are going to want to steal.
Well, my disguise is 5%. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So
All
what
right.
you want to do is you want to either use a disguise or you want to travel with someone who knows the area. Like the way someone like Louis Delacourt would do it is he's well known there. What he'll do is he'll make a deal with one or two of the local bosses so that all the thieves know, okay, that man is with me. You don't cross him.
I do
He
not want
comes
to
and
make
goes where he wants.
deals with criminals,
Louis
particularly. All right.
that is almost certainly what Louis Delacourt has done.
Okay.
He's got a friend there who says, when you see this man coming, you let him through.
Okay.
You don't steal from him.
Well, if we meet again, next time we meet at the club and we have a chat in Illingsworth's room, I'm going
Yep.
to relate all this information that we
Okay.
found out
And
from the
likewise,
deacon.
what you've also got from the books.
Yes, well, I didn't get much.
Yeah, some of
Edgeworth
you
got
did.
everything. I got a little bit of like, wow, there's a lot of winged, scary stuff in the sky mythologically.
Yep.
And, but other
Uh,
than that, not a whole lot.
you could also, if you want, order a copy of von Lehman's book from the Mercury.
That's Edgeworth too. So
Yeah, if you want to spend some money on it,
do it,
they
Edgeworth.
can they can get you a copy from Saxony.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Apparently, the printer still has a backlog of some copies that they're willing to part with. So
Ooh,
they will write to the printer in Saxony
What's the
and
cost?
see about what the price will be. But they can probably get you one at a reasonable price.
Under 50 pounds.
Probably, yeah.
Ooh.
hopefully an expenditure of that
Yeah.
minor scale shouldn't arouse the suspicions of my dear papa.
Oh,
Well,
is that going to cause you troubles, Edgeworth? I would be
No, no, no,
glad
no,
to
no.
lend you the money, or even give it to
Not
you.
at all.
Oh, very well,
Not
very
at all,
well.
not at all.
yeah,
Should be fine. Should
your
be
dad
fine.
doesn't think much of you buying books, does he?
No, no, no,
Why isn't he
not
Yeah.
at
buying
all.
a gun or swords?
Buy something useful, not a book.
All right, so
My,
Edgeworth, go ahead, go ahead.
so,
Sorry.
so at the moment, it's a bunch of tenuous connections, but the Church of the Starry Sky, uh,
Starry Wisdom.
some connections going back to the Babylonian, perhaps some term visitor keeps coming up in interesting ways. It could be some kind of cult connected to how did you pronounce it, Kevin? The
What?
Nephilim? Uh,
To Nephilim.
the Nephilim. Some kind
It's
of connection there, some obscure sector cult uh, with a very particular interpretation of the Old Testament.
Hmm.
um, yeah, the Nephilim first. Just in case you're interested, first show up in Genesis 6:4.
Those are angels, right?
The Nephilim. The text is the Nephilim were of the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God went into the daughters of men who bore children to them.
Hmm. All
The,
right.
the image of a faceless angel.
Yeah, and then they also are mentioned in Numbers 13:32. So they brought to the Israelites an unfavorable report of the land they had spied out, saying, "The land we have gone through as spies is a land that devours its inhabitants. All the people we saw are of great size. There we saw the Nephilim,
Giants.
and to ourselves we seemed like grasshoppers, so we seemed to them."
Hmm.
Yeah, so the idea is it's often been translated as giants. The other place that it occurs is in the idea that they might be giants is in Enoch, which is a non-canonical text.
Recorded precursor race,
Yeah,
ancient.
but the thing about it is the word itself, and the reason people have with that translation, the word Nephilim is directly translated from is a conjugation of the Hebrew nafal, to fall, to go down.
Hmm. And then our man, the German, translated to visitor.
Yeah, he used the word visitor to describe those who came down. In other words, he translated as essentially a pastor on the having come down.
Having come to.
Yeah. Whereas more the probably the better translation is those who come down or those who descend. Could
So
also mean those
with
who
this,
fall.
we're we're starting to percolate, like so we're starting to get like a general concept. We need more evidence. We have some kind of a connection to the Old Testament, to this ancient Babylonian tablet.
And the
There's
timing is not that far off. The
not far.
Enzilu tablet is
There,
probably was roughly 1400 BC. The
mm,
Oral Torah is roughly 1200.
You think these are connected?
So
This the
they're
Babylon to the
they
Bible.
come from roughly the same area and roughly the same time frame.
roughly the same era, roughly the same time. I don't know if they're actually connected, but what matters is that the individuals involved in this might have some belief that they're connected.
Hmm.
It could be that these hooligans, urchins are being motivated by some kind of strange spiritual belief. I'm unsure. We need more information to go on, but at this point, we do know that there is some kind of tether to this. That we'll need to unspool.
Before the meeting with Delacourt, does Blythe show up at the club at all?
He will, yes.
Oh,
Not the day after you met him, but a couple of days later, you will see him. He
could
seems to have recovered a bit,
I'd like to chat with him and
although you will notice that he's wearing a new hat.
is it
So
like a big hat?
it's a broader hat, yeah. Like he bought a bigger hat.
Oh dear. Okay. I just want to see how he's doing. Oh, how are you doing, Doctor Blythe?
He's okay.
Okay.
Don't confide to you, but he's okay because he's gotten back to work.
Oh, that's so good. I have a question for you. It might seem a bit strange. Your maid, you said that um that you dismissed her. Didn't he say that? I think he said he dismissed his maid.
Yeah, he did.
What? What? Why? If you don't mind me
She,
asking.
no, no, not at all. She was loud.
Could you go on?
She had a habit of humming or singing as she went about her tasks.
Oh,
And I asked her repeatedly to
strange.
stop doing so. It made it difficult to concentrate.
Oh, do you remember her name? I'd like to make sure not to hire her if she's doing
Mm.
such things.
German. She was German. It was Bauman. Bauman.
Okay,
Bauman. It was Bauman. Anna
Bauman,
Anya Anya Bauman.
Anya, Bauman. Very good.
Uh,
I don't want a loud maid around the house. Could disturb the children.
Far from my concern, but it was disturbing me. I'll tell you that much.
Ah, of course, of course. And I'd make small talk, blah blah blah. Um, I think that's all I really am trying to learn from him at this juncture.
Yeah. So it does not appear to be.
It's not Anna.
It's not Delacorte.
It's an A name.
Yeah. It does not appear to be the same person.
Okay, dead end.
Yeah, that may be literally he just. That may be exactly what it seems to be.
Yeah, it might have
Just
nothing to do
didn't
with
like the fact
anything.
that he was trying to concentrate on his work and
She
she was
hummed all
humming
the
and
time.
singing,
Okay. Um.
or he just doesn't like German peasant
Yeah.
songs.
So I guess The only thing that I have left that I want to deal with is Edgeworth and any like trying to make sure that he knows what he wants out of this meeting, this first meeting with Delacourt, or not. I mean, he can just go in and just do it.
Yep. Well, you can. You guys, the rest of you are going to be gathered around Cheapside, and it's a public space. It's an arcade, so you can shop there. No
I'm
one will think anything of it.
I'm armed.
Uh, are you
Hit.
taking the pistol, or does Mr. Edgeworth take the
No, no,
pistol?
no. He did not want anything to do with the pistol. So I offered him twice, and he turned me down both times. So I will have
Are
it
you
tucked away, hidden as best I can,
okay?
um, loaded but not cocked. And
Yep.
I guess I want to be where I can see them if possible.
We're not trying to scare her
No,
away.
I don't want to be anywhere near them. Well,
Yeah.
in case something happens, these seem like dangerous, dangerous people.
Okay. Well, then on the appointed afternoon, Mr. Edgeworth, you're on mute, by the way, sir.
I think he stepped
They
away.
they stepped out.
Oh well, then I suppose we're going to have to wait a moment. After all that,
I don't think I'm telling anybody I'm armed either. I'm not going to make a big spectacle of it. I'm just going to have a
You're not gonna tell us.
no, no, no. It's just tucked away, just in case there's some kind of emergency, like some monster comes crashing through the glass of the arcade and starts to pull Mr. Edgeworth away, some faceless thing, and
from outer space
I don't
descends
know.
and grabs
Is there a
people.
skylight in this arcade?
That's a good
No,
question.
it's not even properly covered. It's mostly just the arcades themselves, the archways. The thing is, it's narrow at points, and you've got so many awnings over shops. It's
Okay,
almost covered, so it's as close as you come to an indoor venue without actually being indoor. Cheapside is a street.
right.
It's just so many people have set up awnings to keep the sun and heat off their wares that the place is practically a mall. You also, of course, have permanent shops. So there are people vending in the street in front of other businesses which have proper addresses.
Okay.
And you've got everything, mostly higher end stores. So the vendors tend to sell things like snacks, toys, goodies like that, whereas the permanent storefronts tend to offer higher quality material.
Okay.
So dressmakers, hosiers, hat makers, tailors, people who make things like silverware, furniture. What the heck is that?
I.
Wait,
Mm, yeah.
it's a great place to go if you want a new hat, for instance.
Yeah. I'm just. I'm just gonna. I want to keep them in view, but I want to stay as far away as possible. Otherwise, I'm
Yeah,
not even gonna be close enough to hear what they're talking about personally.
yeah. It's not hard to do on
Okay.
average afternoon
Good.
because most afternoons the place is crowded.
Well, my stealth is terrible, so
Yeah,
I'm not gonna be able
it's
to
a
get
place
close.
it's a place to shop. So on any given day, everyone who needs things can be found in places like that. And of course, some people just come down there for the fun of it, looking in windows, socializing. In effect, mall culture,
Okay.
in that some people come there just to meet up with their friends more than to actually buy anything.
Right. Oh
And it's
man.
clear that some of the street vendors take advantage of that because what they sell is things like walking food.
Right. Okay.
Want to stroll the street? Here, take a snack.
Is it likely we're gonna run into people that we know?
It's possible,
Okay.
but it will attract no attention.
No, no, no. I know. I just don't want to get too distracted
Yeah,
from
and that's the other
just
thing is
keeping
if
an
you
eye on
want to keep
Edgeworth.
eyes on the two of them, the three of you may want to divide up.
Oh yeah. I'm not. I'm nowhere
Because
near these other two guys.
if you
Uh.
do meet somebody you know, you're going to want to. It's going to be rude not to spend a moment talking to them,
Right.
and it's likely eventually you will meet someone you know
Yeah.
in a
Definitely.
place like this. But you may have to do no more than just wish them a good day and move on.
Okay. Yeah. We should not be together. We're not gonna be together. I would even suggest somebody be at one from in one direction from them and somebody be in another direction. Um, does anybody want to get close enough to actually try to overhear the conversation at all? No, I take that as a no.
Um, Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Perhaps
Just curious.
perhaps we could station someone at the entrance to the arcade.
Oh no.
Someone in the middle and someone at the end.
I just wish to be close enough that I can keep an eye on Mr. Edgeworth in case anything happens. Strange.
Speaking of Mr. Edgeworth, where the hell did he go?
I don't know. Who
We're waiting
drops
for
out of
you,
a
sir.
game in the middle? There he
Oh,
is,
there he is.
finally.
All right. There
Yay.
you are.
Oh,
You're back.
sorry. I had to use the washroom. I apologize.
No worries. Okay, so what
Get
we're
up.
doing is we're time to meet up with Miss Delacourt.
Mm.
You will meet her at the west end of Cheapside near Piccadilly. She'll arrive in a carriage. With her is an older woman who she introduces as her Aunt Margaret, who will be serving as a chaperone. By the way, you went through the Who's Who register. Margaret is actually not her aunt in the actual legitimate legal sense. Margaret is actually an older woman who's worked as a servant for the Delacourt family for years and is effectively family.
Hmm.
In other words, somebody the Delacourt family trusts implicitly. So to call her aunt is to just say, accept it, she's here, she's family. Just cope. And of course, she'll give you guys a little space. This is where you should make yourself an etiquette roll. As the two of you will begin strolling the arcades and looking in shop windows and perhaps buying something to snack on if you're so inclined.
Oh, I'm absolutely going to fail this.
Walking tacos.
69, that's a fail.
Ooh,
Okay.
Can you push it?
You can, at the risk of really embarrassing yourself.
I have a no. I've only got a 10 in etiquette.
Yeah.
It
So-
was a miracle that I got the last one.
So, under other circumstances, if this were a normal date, you would probably be making a fool of yourself at this point. As it is, you are, of course, dealing with someone who supposedly doesn't care about such things.
Oh yeah.
As for the rest of you, though, you are welcome as anyone close enough to attempt to eavesdrop.
Not
I don't
me.
want to eavesdrop, so
Okay, no problem. In that case, Mr. Edgeworth, that leaves only you to attempt a psychology roll as well, if you wish.
Go Edgeworth. Go Edgeworth.
Psychology is also 10%.
No. Our plan is falling apart.
This is a
You said this guy to do it. Yeah. So
It's fine.
it's a pleasant afternoon. I'm afraid you're not probably going to get much out of it other than a pleasant afternoon, a glass of lemonade, and perhaps
I'd like to-
something like a new hat or something.
Well, as we're strolling, I did sort of like through my letter sort of like intimate that I did have some understanding of like a connection to the visitors, like that I had
Yeah.
some kind of
And she will
uh,
not go there at all.
no,
Oh.
she's intentionally avoiding that.
You won't probably, with a failed psychology roll, you'll probably catch up to that after the fact.
Mm,
When you dissect this conversation later, you'll realize, yeah, she was avoiding that. It may not occur to you in the moment.
okay.
Is she pretty?
Conventionally, yes. And that's the thing. That's honestly
So
probably the weirdest part of it, is how normal this is.
mm,
You're not talking about sky visitors or ballooning or anything. Conversation tends to run to the season this year, to whether you're going to be at Epsom Downs, to how you feel about checkerboard patterns on cravats. In other words, this is a
so
remarkably boring, normal conversation. which in and of itself is not what you came for,
No, not at all.
and not what you expected out of this woman. And
No.
it's after the fact, when you dissect it, you realize how boring and normal she's being, which is itself, when you get right down to it, kind of suspicious.
Mm.
Where is the adventurer? Where's the aeronaut?
Mhm.
You're also welcome to make a spot hidden roll at some point during this afternoon's
This,
journey.
this I might be good at, actually.
Go, Edgeworth. That eyeball in the back of her neck.
I always boost up my spot hidden because it's the god stat.
I don't want to see the scary stuff. No. What did, what happened?
What'd you get?
If that die had landed on anything but a 0, that would have been an extreme success, but it had just happens to be 0, 0, 0.
Crit fail.
So that'd be a big
Fumble.
fat no, is
That's a
what it is.
fumble. You're in love,
Yeah.
dude. You're in love.
Um. Well, I don't know how you feel about it, but she is certainly willing to see you again, and that is, I wouldn't say we're in love here, but is she treating you like a suitor?
Good question.
Yeah, actually. You
Nice.
realize that after the
Yeah,
fact too. Except she has no interest in that. Except now she does.
this isn't Delacourt.
It looks like her. It talks like her. It just
And
doesn't
it's not
behave like you
her.
expected her to behave.
She's not behaving like her.
Or better than more likely than she has been replaced by a pod person. She's, she's
Yeah,
changed.
she's off. Like this is a front.
Or she's changed. Something
Yeah.
happened and now she's wants to be this and not that. Remember,
I don't know. I like the
here's
pod person theory.
here's the aeronaut who didn't want to meet you under the open sky.
Mhm.
Are they done? Are we discussing this afterwards?
Yeah, this will be, you can sort of, post-mortem this conversation after, probably at a cafe.
Buckwhite said she saw them.
It was just I came expecting a confrontation. I came expecting some kind of repartee. This was decidedly bland.
But you
Even
say
for us, it was way too civil.
Mm.
but Buckwhite said she saw them.
Now,
Likely up in her balloon.
those of you with at least 25 in psychology, after you've
Yes.
got post-mortem the conversation, yeah, she's apparent. Here's a theory. Since that day in the balloon, she wants nothing to do with it anymore.
Yeah, that's where I was
What
going
you're
with
looking
that.
at here is sanity loss.
She saw that thing.
Yeah,
Whatever it was.
she's down some serious sanity points. Is what happened.
And we can't just confront her. She'll either lie or it'll be a huge breach of etiquette to do that.
Mm.
And
We
and you
need
also may
to deal with
do
that.
some serious harm to force
Yeah.
her to confront something she doesn't want to talk about.
Yeah. Ooh,
Mm.
I do know mesmerism. If you can get close
So,
to her, perhaps if you find some things that disturb her, I could help her.
are you saying that in order to snap her out of this, we need to?
No, but once. Well, let me explain mesmerism to you. That a person can be made to reveal many things while they are under the spell of the mesmerist. It's not really a spell. It's not magic or anything like that. But
Mm.
um, they can be made to reveal things. And if she has had some kind of a breach of her mind, a madness, or even some kind of shock, some terrible shock, um, she might have actually forgotten what she saw. But with
Mm.
mesmerism, we might be able to make her remember at least while she's under the hypnotic trance.
That just involves getting her to agree to that, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. So get her to fall
Therein,
in
as
love
they
with you,
say, is the
marry
rub,
her, and then order her to do it as your wife.
Would there
or
happen to
that,
be a
Yeah.
Either we get
or
her
that, I
ready
suppose.
to confront her fear, or we have to scare her enough so she just reveals it.
Mhm.
could if we Doctor, are you educated in mesmerism?
Yes, yes, I use it. I sometimes use it to put a patient at ease before surgery or the kind of thing, and I can make them so that I can create it so they do not feel the pain. It doesn't always work, but in cases where it has worked, it has been fascinating.
We could, in theory, if we were at some kind of like arrange some kind of a larger social gathering,
Hmm.
create a an opening, if you will, treat it as if it was a party game. Like, oh,
Oh,
I'm going to mesmerize you.
I never thought of
Uh,
that.
that, we would be able to sort of approach her openly about it. If she's not even conscious of it, she wouldn't know to resist the mesmerism.
Well,
How could we ask her telling questions without tipping off our guests?
Oh, a post hypnotic suggestion could be placed to have her meet us somewhere later. But of course, if there are other guests, they would hear me say that.
We could work in concert. We could arrange the situation so that you would effectively have a moment alone with her in an entirely public space where we distract the other guests around you, allowing you to focus in on her.
Yes, we can figure a way to do that. That could work. But I have a question. She visited Buckwhite just a few days ago, didn't she?
Which implies that whatever happened to her happened recently.
Has she flown recently? Do we know of? Have we read about any of her? When was her last flight?
in a couple of weeks.
That'd be something that they would report in the tablets.
Yeah, it would be in the
Oh
it'd
yeah.
be in the papers, and we could probably
So the
quickly.
short answer is her meeting with Buck White came after her last flight. She has not flown since that meeting.
Hmm.
Mm.
How often does she usually fly? I mean, is it like
Usually every couple of weeks.
okay?
Usually it's 2, 3 weeks between flights. Depends
Okay.
on the demand. Depends on the occasion. Depends on the weather even.
Ooh, who was the last person that went up with her?
Her last flight was undertaken near Dover, and she was alone.
Near Dover.
Yeah,
That's
which is why we
that's
expect.
south.
Well, that also probably explains the French balloonist scare.
Mm, hmm.
Mm.
And
Gentlemen, should we
there's even
perchance take a
there,
trip down to Dover?
there was even some thought of no one is as no one is committed to it yet, but the tabloid suggested that the reason she was flying from Dover is she's thinking about attempting a cross-channel flight.
Right. Yeah, I think that was mentioned
Madness.
before.
Yeah,
Dangerous.
Never been done, can never be done.
Mm.
Good old
well,
Baker.
A man
He's
is
always so
a
positive.
man may as well try to swim the channel. It's for all it's worth.
yeah. It has never been
Impossible.
done, but balloon flights are theoretically possible over such distances.
Hmm.
So the fact that it has never been done doesn't mean it can't be done. It just never has been done up to the present. You'd have to, you'd want a day where the wind is right. It would be,
Mankind isn't meant to fly. Mark my words.
yep. Well,
It's a
people are doing it.
fad.
People are doing it.
Ah,
Of course, there's also the political situation that if she lands in France, she's
Yeah, right
under
now
the
it's
wrong circumstances. She may end up getting arrested.
not a good time for
mhm,
this.
Yeah. So part of her consideration
right.
of a cross channel flight is entirely the possibility of getting arrested at the other end.
So from where I sit, we have some potential threads to look down. We're waiting for the book to arrive, for me to take a look at the translation. We do know the location of the Church of the Starry Night or Starry Sky.
Starry Wisdom.
Um,
Wasn't that it? Starry
Starry
Wisdom.
Wisdom, yes. Thank you. The Starry Wisdom. We could potentially make our way down to Dover to see if we can locate any kind of evidence of her last flight. Perhaps something happened that left a physical trail. Or we could attempt to arrange at a social gathering a chance for you, good doctor, to attempt to mesmerize her. I think all of these are fantastic, creative ways to uh, work towards our shared project. I don't know what to call this,
All of
but
these,
Investigation.
all of these things can actually be done.
hmm,
First
Yeah.
off, the next social event you'll have access to is going to be a ball held by Lord Vauxhall.
Vauxhall or Fox?
Vauxhall with a V,
Vauxhall. Thank you.
Vaux,
Gotcha.
um, because Miss Delacourt is going to be there, and you can secure invitations for yourselves if you wish.
Sure. Yeah, I'll do that.
So, so
That would.
that's going to be a place. There's your social event where you'll be in
Yeah.
the same place as her,
My wife would
and
be
that's
coming
going
with me for that, wouldn't she?
to,
oh,
if you wish.
that
Oh yeah.
you you could loop your wife into our conspiracy, and she could assist us.
Well, she's a very level-headed woman. I don't think she would appreciate the
Approve?
strange things that we have been
There's
looking
that.
into. She doesn't even know that I went to court.
As for the balloon, if you wanted to see the balloon and look for physical evidence, the balloon is currently stored at a facility near Charing Cross.
I'd like to check that out.
And in fact, it will be easy to do because, as it turns out, she's apparently selling the balloon.
Oh, we found that
Ooh.
out. Okay. Well,
But when you were thinking about going to Dover to see the balloon,
no.
turns out you can see it here,
With
and
Dover, it
turns
would
out it's for sale.
be talking to people that she had to hire some local help or something to manhandle the balloon. She couldn't do a balloon
Mhm.
by herself. She's got to
Yeah,
have a
but that's
team of men of some kind. And somebody
yeah,
there might
people
have
to
said
handle ropes.
something. Yeah.
This is
Just
true.
and she probably hired them locally just or does she have a team of men or
No, she probably did hire them
she
locally.
hired some guys locally. Maybe somebody saw something or could at least
Yeah.
tell
But if
us.
you want to,
Do we want
see the balloon
do we
itself,
want to
that's where it is.
I say we send
do
Illingsworth to Dover.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. We could
Yeah.
split the party.
Well, yeah.
Oh, and then what was the other
I
one?
am not going to Limehouse.
And then
Thank you very
Limehouse.
much.
You know where the church is, and the thing is, that neighborhood a lot safer in the daytime.
Oh God, I would never go at
Mm.
night. Never go to Limehouse at night. Just stab me in the heart.
Well, do you have a gun?
Uh,
The book is taking care of itself. Oh God. I,
Mr. Baker wants to go examine the balloon, and I'd love to go with him.
all right.
And Mr. Illingsworth, do you concur with the good doctor's suggestion?
About going to Dover, I could.
Just talk to the men
Um,
there. Buy him some
Do you
beers.
have any?
what what um what would you like me to ask around? I'm not
Was there anything strange
really
about?
good with people.
Was there anything strange about her flight? Did she seem odd afterwards? You'll be talking to
Okay.
common men. I'm sure they won't think anything of it.
Did they witness anything? Were there any strange
Yes.
happenings before or after the flight that would seem detached initially, but perhaps have some greater meaning
Yes.
uh,
Check the
as you
pubs.
consider these things more?
Buy a few beer. Buy a round for a pub and chat with the local fellows.
Oh
Um,
yeah, a little money spent on beer should go a long
yes.
way in such a place.
You could talk like this. You talk like this, and then they'll be very friendly with you.
That
Oh,
yeah.
do you know anything about that damn balloon?
Yes, yes,
So,
it'll be fine.
so that's the plan then. Initially, so Mr. Illingsworth is going to Dover.
Sure. Yep. All right.
Uh, Baker and Edgeworth are going to examine the balloon, and
I
that
guess.
leaves
Yeah.
Payne.
I have a job. I have patience. I can't gallivant off to Dover with on short notice.
This is true. Although
The rest of your layabouts, I am an actual working man.
you could make your way to
I'm not a
Limehouse.
layabout.
I'm
You
thinking
could make
about.
your way to Limehouse at lunchtime.
I could go to Limehouse. God, I'm scared to go to Limehouse. Just to check out the church and look at it, I guess. And
Yep.
damn! I wish I'd put a ton of points in disguise. Um, I'll fill my pockets with drugs and various. Maybe I can help some people. I can do some charity work.
Or you could, in all fairness, you could also wait and bring the others with you if you're feeling vulnerable by yourself.
Not during the day. I think during the day I'd be okay. I mean, nobody's gonna
Okay.
attack me on the street. I'll
Probably
be
not.
armed and I'll have a cane.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll just go kind of like check out the territory. If I can
Okay.
find some people who are willing to chat with me about the church, I will
Okay.
talk to them. But I'm not going to push it because my character doesn't want to get anybody in trouble, and I don't want to get killed.
Okay. So in order then, we'll start with the southern point with Dover.
Dover.
So, Mr. Illingsworth, you're going to take. Are you going to take a carriage? You're going to ride?
Oh.
No, he'll ride.
Okay. So you'll take yourself a ride down to Dover, and find people there to talk to. This mostly does involve, in fact, visiting pubs along the seaside.
Okay.
So
It's a vacation.
it is kind of a vacation, although you will notice there is a fair-sized military presence here.
Okay.
So a number, for instance, along the beach are a number of large wooden hedgehogs designed to deter landing boats. A series of towers, and you'll notice that some of them are actually occupied. Like up there is a guy with a telescope who's watching the coast. So they're watching out for potential invaders. They haven't seen any yet, but that's just because they're doing a very good job watching out, right? They're keeping everybody here safe by keeping a close eye on the sea.
Is it possible for me to try to strike up a conversation with or get a chance to talk to any of these people that are looking out?
Oh, absolutely. The way that you do this is basically to catch them when they're off duty.
Okay.
In other words, as you take a look, as you ride past one of the towers, you notice the guy was up there.
Right.
Look at him, and then find him later at a pub.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
you can talk to him directly. That's generally how this is done.
Yeah, that's who I'm going to want to try to search out to see if they noticed anything strange about their flight.
Well, they'd heard the guys you'll talk to, and I simplify, a whole night's worth here. They heard about the rumor about the French balloonist. They think it's nonsense. They are convinced that it was Miss Delaport who people saw.
Okay.
As for the flight itself, there's actually quite a bit about that struck them. First off, the weather was good in the early afternoon when she launched.
Okay.
But it turned very quickly.
Okay.
And by about 2 p.m., it was nasty. Like rain,
Okay.
high wind, and even the tower observers lost sight of her. And actually, there was about a 45-minute period where they were afraid that she had actually been pushed out to sea.
Okay.
And in fact, the lifeboat service actually mustered men and were prepared to launch the lifeboat. By this I mean, of course, the coastal rescue. This is a lifeboat is here a rowing boat that's intended for coastal rescue. To rescue people from ships that are wrecked along the coast.
Right.
So the idea is if she came down to the sea, the idea is that hopefully the lifeboat would find her before she sank. So they were waiting. The men in the lifeboat were waiting for the word, and then when they over 3 hours after she went up, they saw her again.
Okay.
She did
3
not
hours.
land. Yeah, and she did not successfully land until almost 6 hours into the flight.
How long do her flights normally last?
Usually only an hour or two.
Okay.
Yeah, this time she was up there for over 6 hours. They can show you where she actually landed, which was nearer to the cliffs than she had launched from.
Okay.
A local doctor tells you that she was not in good shape. that she was beaten. She looked like she'd been in a fight. And he's pretty sure that that was a rope that got her. She basically got whacked in the face with a loose rope at one point.
Okay.
She was thoroughly drenched, disheveled. She'd lost her bonnet was long gone, and
Did
she was actually bleeding from a cut along her left arm, which he thinks was a rope burn, as if she actually was trying to control the direction, wrapping her arm inside the rope and pulling it that way. It got so bad it went through her sleeve and cut her arm.
okay.
Mm.
Did
She
she
was all.
say? Did she say anything out of the ordinary?
She didn't speak at all after landing.
Okay.
They helped her from the basket, and she did not speak at all. They took her
Okay.
to a nearby tavern, a place called the Black Horse, and they found her a bed and put her into it. She did not speak until morning. So she was in and out of consciousness for essentially the next 12 hours.
Okay. And I'm probably going to want to check out that Black Horse Tavern then as well at some
Yeah.
point while I'm down there then.
Yeah, and there you can find people who can verify the story. That
Okay.
the men who got the basket pulled her out of it. You'll also find a man there who tells you that he had to use his knife to cut one of the ropes free. That her left arm was entangled in a rope,
Okay.
and he actually
So that was
basically
the same one that
cut.
she cut. Right. That
Yeah,
was the same one
like
she cut.
couldn't get the rope off her that way and couldn't get her out of the balloon without that, so they just cut the rope off to get her out of the balloon.
Okay.
They can also tell you that her clothing was absolutely drenched, which, no surprise, it was raining.
Right.
And that the weirdest part of the way her clothing was, that she was drenched completely, including water, which had apparently leaked into her boots, as if she was standing in water, implying that the rain was hard enough that water actually pooled in the basket at
Okay.
one point. So she was actually carrying water, which probably also weighted the balloon down, and she may have even made use of his ballast at one point. It also
Okay.
speaks to how fast the rain would have had to be coming down to do that.
Yeah. Well,
We're talking about one of those kind of
how would
driving
you keep
rainstorms.
how would you keep a balloon in flight during all that rain?
That none of them have any idea how to answer that. Because none of them
Okay.
honestly know how you keep a balloon in flight in good weather.
True.
How do you do
True.
this at all? They have no idea. How you do it under those conditions, they have even less idea. Honestly, many of them, the implication you get is many of them are amazed at the fact that she was able to land in one piece.
No, it definitely
That
it
they thought she'd be
sounds
pulled out to sea, or that the balloon would simply be torn to pieces and she would just fall and then land, and die, like you do when you fall from that height, under other circumstances.
yeah.
But the fact that
Okay.
she was able to make a survivable landing.
Um. Did she happen to mention anything to the staff about, or did she still remain quiet throughout her time at the Dark Horse Tavern or whatever?
Um, the staff there will tell you she spoke very little beyond that. She did not. What was curious was she did not ask about the condition of the balloon.
Okay.
And contrary to her habit, she did not ride back for London. She waited for a carriage to come and get her. She sent a messenger
Mm.
to ask her brother to send a carriage. Her brother sent a family carriage because they remember two liveried servants arriving in a carriage with the Delacourt arms on it and taking her home that way. She claimed when asked that she was too badly hurt to ride. The
Okay.
doctor will tell you that she did, in fact, twist an ankle on landing, very much so. But he does not think that would have prevented her from riding. In other words, she chose to wait.
Right.
She used the injury as an excuse. She chose to wait.
Right. And I'm kind of tying the connection of her fear of the sky then started at that point.
Yeah.
Where that's the first indicator of it, because she wanted to go in a carriage at that point.
Exactly.
I've forgotten.
But
Was the last flight before or after she went and saw Buckwhite?
before.
Before. Thank you.
Yeah. But that's the other thing is that this is not, from what you know, not the first time she's dealt with dangerous flying conditions. The first
Okay.
time that she's given up on it after that. She's had a close call or two before. Most aviators have at some point or another.
Right. Well, yeah.
When you get into this as a habit, you dance with death now and again. You're gonna. So,
yeah.
under other circumstances, you would expect that she would get right back up and be like, well, that was awful. Let's do it again. Instead, that was awful. Let's never do it again.
Right. So what about that trip made it so much more horrible than all the other times?
Yeah, and not just the weather.
And I will relay all this information back once I get back.
Yeah, if there was really something up there. Now, those of you who went to see the balloon, meantime, it's for sale, and it is not in great shape. There's the visible damage, of course, of the storm. Two of you are welcome to make a spot hidden roll as you examine it. You've got the original basket, the balloon itself, its pumps and furnaces, the carrying case, and the wagon that goes with it. In other words, all the equipment you need to operate a balloon.
What's the cost? Just trying to sell it, right?
Yeah, 32 pounds.
Oh, buy it.
Which is not that much money for this.
Oh, really?
What did you get?
Well, it's also not in great shape, in all fairness.
Oh, that's true.
It needs some work. It's a fixer-upper kind of job.
Take it to the party. Make it part of the party.
And
so when she walks in, she sees the balloon.
Yeah. Hold that thought a sec. And let us hope that Lord Vauxhall has not chosen flight as a theme for his ball.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
I'd have to spend some luck to.
How much luck do you have to spend?
6.
I'd have to spend 23.
It's fine.
Okay. So 6.
Push it. Push the roll.
Or you could push the roll.
Yeah.
I mean, I could. I just don't know how.
Well, you're examining the balloon, right? Just take your time. Sorry. I'm shut up. I'm not there. Sorry.
You take your time and potentially annoy other buyers.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm going to completely break social etiquette and just start like getting up on the balloon. Like my curiosity gets the better of me, and I just start like looking around very obviously, like examining it. Like not before I was like, yes, perhaps I will buy this. Next is like, wait, what's that?
Okay, so yeah, push it.
You cad.
Absolutely, like I'm willing to take a social hit here if it gives me more information.
My wife was looking at that.
And Baker, are you also pushing your roll? Or are you going to distance yourself from this behavior?
Oh,
okay.
Are you kidding me?
No.
I kind of want to join the examination.
Okay, well then make yourself another spot and roll. Push this. I take it you failed twice.
I have failed every check tonight.
Technically, a failed push roll, depending on the keeper, you could still succeed, but there is some something bad.
I want to know I want to need to know what Baker's doing first, though. Are you pushing as well?
Yes.
Okay, so how'd you do on the push roll then?
We're using, is it spot hidden or?
Yes. Unless you have any kind of appropriate engineering skills.
Then it's 21.
Nice.
Okay, so you'll push it and succeed.
Thank you.
On the other hand, Edgeworth pushes it and fails. So Mr. Edgeworth is going to get himself essentially thrown out.
Did you
Like,
slap that old lady?
well, the thing is, you're climbing over something that doesn't belong to you, and you're going to get basically tossed. You will need an etiquette roll to avoid losing some reputation.
Oh no.
Mr. Baker, on the other hand,
Mm,
Good luck, Edgeworth.
you've got something worth looking at here. It's the basket itself. So there's the damage to the ropes. You expected that. But it's one part of the basket. There's what appears to be a groove, as if something like imagine a rope that someone just flossed the basket top with to create a groove in it. Actually, there's three of them.
Like
With
three
three,
things were hanging
with three
from the.
points possibly hanging, or someone flossed the top of the basket. But at some point, there are three basically grooves in the wicker work that tops the basket, as if something was rubbed over it repeatedly. And the weirdest
Like
part of that is the
over the top of the basket or
over
around the
over,
side of the basket.
over the rim where you would put your hands if you were looking over the side.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
And the weirdest part of that is the wicker is smoothed down, almost melted. You should make yourself a sanity roll because there is nothing
Wicker
that
enough
does that.
for melted
To
wicker.
wicker.
melted?
Melted wicker.
Yeah, wicker. That's not how wicker behaves.
No. Wicker burns, doesn't it?
Yeah, it
It's
does.
is it is wicker like grass or is it its own thing? I'm not aware of
It's
that.
closer in consistency to wood.
Well, I know it's like wood, but like it's like woven though.
Yeah,
I think I
Yeah.
had an
Put it
extreme
underwater.
success. I
the
just
sanity,
rolled a 1.
A
on the
one.
sanity roll.
Hey!
Um,
That's good.
so, so two things here. One,
That's
with that,
an
one, you are completely cool with this. Understand that these three marks are organic. What you're looking at is essentially a footprint. Something landed on the edge of this basket.
how big? What kind of size are they talking?
Do they look like
Well, that depends on
boulders?
whether these were three individual footprints or three footprints of the same creature. In other words, if it's one creature, it's fairly large, larger than the basket.
Three
If it's three
footprints.
creatures, they could be, say, man-sized.
Three eyes.
But something, there is no doubt in your mind, something landed briefly on this basket, probably from the outside.
Oh,
Yeah, you have proof here. She encountered something.
I'd like to make
Was face to face
uh,
with whatever the hell it was.
I'd like to write down my findings and possibly draw what I've seen.
Ooh.
Okay. And how did you do on the etiquette roll, by the way?
I failed.
Oh
Ah,
no, Edgeworth, no. I won't be able to hang out with you anymore.
well, hopefully it won't be that bad. Whoops. Do we have a dice spot? I'm in dice roller and I don't see it
Yeah, there
working.
should be.
Yeah, there's a dice roller.
I
Dice
switched
roll.
over to the dice roller channel.
Oh, it's empty. Hold on. I think
Yeah.
everybody has been using the one.
Where is it?
Oh, they're gone. They're all gone.
Which one did you use?
No, all of the dice roller.
No, there's a dice roller in Regency
Bingo.
Cthulhu. There's nothing in
Up
it.
at Down Darker Trails Gaming. But yeah, you can use it. Nobody's ever used it before. Um,
Dice
everybody's been
roller.
doing up in Down Darker Trails, but you can do it down
Okay.
here. That would actually be more
Well,
appropriate to do it down in Regency Cthulhu. It should
well, yeah.
it should work.
I didn't see it working. Hold on.
I don't remember what the slash
Am I using the
is.
wrong? Did I use the wrong slash? Maybe.
Slash roll.
Nope.
Yeah, slash roll.
Slash roll. No, that's
1d10.
That's not getting me anything.
It's working for me.
I
Backslash roll.
used the wrong slash.
Hold on. There. Can you see it in the dice roller under Regency Cthulhu?
No.
You can't? I put it in
Say, I
quotes,
can.
so it's just says
It's-
slash roll.
Okay, hold on a sec. I think I was in the wrong channel.
Okay. Yeah, it's all the way
Yeah.
at the bottom. Can you see it? That's the slash roll you have to use, and it'll ask you for the message.
Does it have to? Do you need the quotes?
No, don't
No,
put the quotes. The
no.
quotes are just there so you can see what you have to type. Because if you
Okay.
don't put the quotes, it'll go for.
Okay, so I did that, and it's not working.
Are you putting? Okay, you're doing this slash roll one, and then when the box comes up,
I'm not getting the box. Is the
you're not
problem?
getting the box. Ah,
I'm getting a GIF query, animated GIF, me, message, Nick, shrug, spoiler, sticker.
what? I have no idea. I'm not seeing that.
And when I type
I see
slash
the slash
R,
roll
when I type slash R, I should get the dice roller, but I'm not.
slash R.
It should pop up the die roller.
It's yeah, that one's not working. It must be broken.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
It's working for
I'm
me.
just gonna,
Does it work for
and
anybody
it's
else?
working.
Nah, it
And
didn't work for me.
the Down Darker Trails one was working.
Well, go up and down darker trails. If that one works up there,
Yeah, I'll just use that one
yeah,
for
use that
now.
one. I don't know. Ugh. Dice
Is
roll.
there the dice roller? Let me just make sure it's working. Yeah, that one is working. See, I type slash R and I immediately get message. So I
Right.
can enter the one I want. Oops.
Okay, that's fine. It doesn't matter where it's done. Wherever's most convenient for you.
Yeah,
I don't
I
think
have to.
nobody's used this one yet. No, everybody goes up to down darker trails because it's the one at the top, and so
Yep.
they do it in there.
Ow.
I guess we still
So,
get the. Wait,
yeah.
did you mean to roll a d4?
Yes, because you're
Okay,
going to
okay.
lose three. You're going to lose 3 points of
Oh!
reputation for getting thrown out of the balloon sale.
Remind me, how is reputation calculated? It seems to have not popped up on my sheet.
Should be
I think it's half credit rating plus
yeah,
etiquette, something like that.
credit rating plus etiquette averaged.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
great. Oh,
No, that's not right. Wait,
Isn't it?
maybe it is. 40, 30.
Divide by 2. Say, should be divided by 2
So
then, right?
80, 110. Yeah, it is. You're right. You're right. That's totally right.
Yeah. So credit rating plus etiquette averaged.
hmm
It's your starting reputation.
my
So
credit rating
3.
is 50
So 25
So
plus your etiquette
50
of
is
plus
10. Your
60.
of 10.
So 30. So you had to start with 30, and you just lost 3 points.
30 is a bad sort.
Yeah.
You're a
Yep.
bad
And
sort.
in other words, no one is surprised that you're behaving in such a manner and getting thrown out. You already have a reputation as the kind of person who would behave in such a fashion. And so this is you getting chucked. And people will be talking
Down
about it.
27.
Yeah, and you can certainly expect it at Vauxhall's event. People will be talking about this.
Oh,
The man who
no.
got
I
himself
love
thrown out of Charing Cross.
And
Yeah,
you
you should
take
probably consider something about doing something positive for your reputation.
you take a penalty die for social skills or credit rating skills when the reputation could affect the skill. So like at a
Yep.
ball or something
Oh.
like that. Right now
Yeah.
with a 30. Well, you need to get up to
Mhm.
40 to be just perfectly respectable. Average
Yeah,
in
and
school.
also keep in mind, gaining points in etiquette will do that too,
Right.
because your reputation can go up or
You
down based
made
on
an
your
etiquette
action.
roll earlier, so that you're going
I
to get to
did.
check that later when we level up our
Yes,
characters.
Exactly.
yes. So you're going
Exactly.
to get a chance to gain points back right there, which is good.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Now, Dr. Payne, meantime, is going to go visit
Oh
Limehouse,
boy.
the former St. Anne's Cathedral,
Oh my god, I'm scared to
which
death.
stands at the end of Old Vicar Lane, which is these days narrow. Used to have cobblestones. There's still a few. It is best not to ask where many of the cobblestones went.
I'm not talking to
Short,
anybody.
short answer is they went for missiles. Most of them were thrown at cops,
Oh boy. All
and
right.
no one's bothered putting them back.
I have a big red cross on me. No.
Yeah, well, you're not the cops. Well,
I'm a
actually,
doctor.
it's not the cops. Actually, it's the servants
Yes.
of rich people who they were thrown at. You get
Real
the idea.
quick question.
Or soldiers.
Anna Whitehall. I've forgotten and I can't find it in my notes. Where'd she her we found she had an address. We figured it was fake. Was that in
Yeah.
Limehouse?
No,
Was
I
it
believe it
some?
was in Spittle. It was in Spittlefield,
Okay, okay.
which is basically just across the way.
Gotcha. Okay. I was just
Yeah.
I couldn't remember where it was. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm
The
just
current The thing about St. Anne's is the art is still impressive. So its facade is uneven. One large door and one small door front Old Vicar's Lane. That's medieval in style with the deliberate non-symmetry of the building. One taller tower, one smaller one. And the facade done in stonework that's almost abstract art. Kind of nice, actually. And of course, dominates the end of Old Vicar's Lane, surrounded by 2 and 3 story wood and brick structures, most of which are leaning into the street a bit. And a few of them look like they're one good push, and
Yeah,
they would, fall over.
I look so out of place.
Yeah, you do.
Damn it.
People are watching. People sit in doorways, many of them children and women, who are watching and clearly have nothing else to talk about other than you.
Oh, anybody injured or looks like they're sick?
The short answer is who isn't.
Oh boy. Okay.
Welcome to Disease Central.
Yeah. Anybody with actual
Yeah.
injuries, like not so much like a disease, but like
You'll
cuts,
if you
bruises, broken arms, broken legs, broken anything.
Same principle is almost
There's
you'll
a
find a
lot of
lot of
people injured.
people. Yeah, this is a dangerous place to live.
Yeah.
Uh, so, for instance, they're a child with a mangled arm. Can't do much about it. Probably a former cotton mill worker
Yeah.
who's now a beggar. You're a woman who says she's blind, possibly, probably true,
Oh,
or she's just faking it to beg.
I give her some money, some coin, some like pence. Not
Yeah,
much.
and that will also attract the attention of other beggars
That's
who
okay.
will also want a little something.
I
So,
will give the beggars
so,
something.
yeah, giving out some money will get you through if a little poorer,
That's okay.
and then into the church itself. The interior has been largely gutted. So
Oh.
where there were once pews, now a plain wooden floor.
Mhm.
Well polished though, so it's clean. If anything, from a modern perspective, it looks more like a dance floor than a church.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Okay, even from a period perspective, it looks more like a dance floor than a
It's a
church.
big empty room.
Well, the altar's still there.
Polished?
Yeah, he said
What's that?
You
polished.
said
It's cleaned.
Yeah, polished, clean.
Polished.
Yeah,
So
Or
they're
the
using this for something.
the windows, of course, are still in
or
place. They're stained glass.
Mhm. They still the
Uh,
same as like
uh,
Christian. Is it Christian iconography or is it look
uh,
newer?
they look, for the most part, older.
Okay.
Although you will notice over the altar, there's a figure depicted holding in one hand, like raised up what appears to be a cup that wears something that looks more Egyptian than biblical.
Oh no. Okay.
But
looks
that's
more
part of the
what? Well, I'll say
Egyptian.
I'm not. Oh,
Egyptian.
Egyptian. Okay.
but that's part of the original artwork. That's
Really?
carved into the stone lintel above the altar surface. That was there from the beginning.
No crucifix?
The crucifix is wood and hangs from the lintel behind the altar.
Okay.
It's been left in place. No figure.
So it's
No
just a
surprise.
cross.
Yeah, many Anglican churches, some Anglican churches have done away with the figure and
Okay.
display just the cross. So that, no figure, not a big deal. Many Puritans, for instance, favor that approach. So if anything, it gives the place a little bit of a Puritan look to it. There is no visible altar service, though,
Just a
although it's probably
is it a
stored in
table?
a cabinet somewhere.
Right.
Yeah, the
There's a
altar
table.
table's
There's
there.
a table. There's a statue of the man with the cup, and behind
It's
him,
not,
hanging.
not a statue,
Oh,
a
sorry,
relief carving.
relief carving, and then
It's over the
hanging in the
lintel.
back is the cross. Is a cross.
Yeah,
Okay.
which the celebrator would be facing if they had the altar behind them.
Okay. Right.
So that way the minister would face the altar and then turn to face the cross.
Okay.
And there's enough space back there for that purpose. On one side, the cabinet that probably holds the actual altar service, and literally nobody here.
Like
A closed door that opens on what's probably the minister's office, another that opens on what I'm guessing are the vestibules. Stairs over there and over there. Those are the towers.
Talon,
And in,
high and low, big and
yep,
small, big and small. Yeah.
and at the back, basically just to the left of where you entered, a set of broad stairs that access the choir loft, which runs along the entire west wall.
Which I came
So you
in
got basically a
underneath.
catwalk along. Yeah, you came in.
Gotcha.
You come into the left of it, and then the entire west wall is walkable, with the choir loft being in the northwest corner. The
Okay.
actual door you used is the west
This,
wall.
and it's the smaller of the two doors.
Yeah, with the altar, of course, facing eastward.
Nobody's here. Nobody's in here. Do I? I don't hear. Okay.
No, nothing, no movement, no nobody.
I can't use player knowledge here because I know what I want to do, but I don't think he. I don't think it would be appropriate at this juncture. I'm very honest, man. I'm going to walk to the back to the ministers to a door that I think probably leads to ministers' offices,
Okay,
and give it a little tap, and then open it up. If that's not
okay.
totally like a huge breach of etiquette,
Yeah, no, just first knock. Wait a moment to see if anyone
right?
answers.
Tap tap.
And short answers, someone does.
Ah, okay,
The man who answers the door answers the description of Caleb Brown.
okay, yep.
That is description from Aloysius. He's wearing a black shirt, which is open at the neck. His sleeves are rolled up, and his hands stained with ink, as if he's been working in a print shop, or he's been engaged in writing, or something like that.
Okay, like so little stains, not like completely black.
Yeah, no, the kind of
Okay,
stains you expect of someone who's been doing some printing or writing.
okay. I didn't
Like
hear a
he's been
press or
around.
anything going,
Yeah,
anything
no,
like
but
that.
he's
Okay,
clearly been around ink recently.
okay.
He says, "I'm sorry I did not hear you come in. Please allow me to assist you."
Oh, you
And they were right, by the way. He does look through you. His eyes are
dead?
unnerving.
Okay.
Not dead. Piercing is
Piercing.
the word they wanted. The kind of man who looks.
Oh
Who,
boy.
this is how looking up at him. I mean, how tall are you?
Um, let's see. Taller than average. Probably 6 foot, maybe 6'1",
So you're
and
actually a little
slim.
taller than he is,
Okay.
but you still can't. It's hard to escape the feel that this is what a zebra feels like when it sees a
Oh,
lion.
great. That's awesome. Okay.
It's got the feel of,
He's a
I don't know why
predator.
the brain does it, but the feel you get is that this is a predator.
Yeah. Oh boy.
He hasn't threatened you or anything, but it's just there's no
There's a.
escaping the feel
Mm,
that there's something, some suppressed violence about this man.
oh, all right. Ah, yes. Father
Yeah, Brown, Father Brown.
Brown. Yes. Father Brown.
Welcome to the Church of Starry Wisdom.
Oh, interesting. I'm Dr. Payne. I
You know,
have heard stories about your church. Oh, you do?
Brother Jack mentioned you before
Oh,
his departure,
yes.
and Brother
Yes.
Stanley.
I'm
Perhaps
sorry, I missed that. I
you
can't.
haven't met brothers. You haven't met Brother Stanley, but he knew of you.
No, no, I haven't. I'm afraid. I apologize. Yes, indeed. Um,
Uh,
was it interesting engravings by the altar? The whole church is quite. It is it. Could I say lovely and not be lying?
yeah, all the art
Okay.
is impressive.
Yes, then that's what I'm going to tell him.
That he indicates that the Egyptian style figure. That
I
is
know.
a depiction. That is a depiction of Thoth.
Oh, oh,
Mm,
It was all the rage when they were building this.
I see. I see. Do you have? I look.
Metaphorically, the cup of knowledge.
Oh,
Get it?
yes. I think. Do you? I look back at this empty, totally empty room, and then I look back at him and I say, Do you have regular services here,
Of
Father?
course.
Father Brown?
Yes, of course.
Oh, very interesting.
We are
What?
more physical in our needs for space. You're welcome to attend
Wait, when are your services?
Friday, the true Sabbath,
Oh, what time?
after sundown.
I might. This is all very interesting.
Observe, if you will.
You
He
wouldn't
takes
mind?
from, not at all, he takes from his pocket two threads. In this light, it's hard to tell the difference between them.
Okay.
And he holds them up to the stained glass. You can
Mhm.
see that one is colored red, one is colored black.
Mhm.
When both threads appear the same, it is sundown.
Very well.
How's your
Is he
knowledge?
like is he handing them
How's
to
your,
me or
yeah,
what? Is he
he's
doing?
offering them the two of them, so you can tell when sundown is. By the way, how's
Okay.
your how's your how's your knowledge of religion?
Religion is probably not
Because that's a score.
great. That's a 10%.
You're welcome
I
to have a go at it.
I can make a roll.
He
No.
keeps sending the
56.
antisocial people to do the social roles, and then the non-nerdy people to do the nerd roles.
I'm well aware, and it's hilarious.
I don't know. I just thought I could do this. I
Yeah,
should have gone and looked at the balloon, I guess.
You're good. You're
Uh,
good.
yeah.
This is wonderful.
Anyway, he's no. Please keep
so
these.
he gives me these threads.
Hold them up to the horizon as
Yes.
the sun sets,
And
and
then
when you
they'll
cannot
look,
distinguish the one from the other, it is sundown.
and I shouldn't come before then,
The service begins after sundown.
after sundown.
You're welcome to come at any hour. The
Oh,
point is that the service will begin after sundown.
very well. Yes, well, thank you. Thank you so much, Father Brown. Uh,
Of
it has
course,
been, yes. Uh, and I'm
allow
just
me
kind of
to
trying to take it all in. and
allow me to advise you. Our
yes,
services are physical. Are you familiar with the Shakers, the American movement?
that's another religion.
Yes, it is.
Come on.
But you also may not know much about it.
No,
It's an American thing.
I rolled the same number, 56 both times.
Yeah, he's
I'm
correct. They
afraid
are
I'm
American.
not. I'm afraid I'm
Yeah,
not familiar.
that's the extent of your knowledge. They are in fact American.
I do know they're
There's
American.
some
Oh, they're
they're weird.
Americans.
They're weirdos who live in America and apparently they shake or something.
Okay. I'm afraid I'm not, aside from that they're Americans.
Their practice of ecstasy in the presence of God is allowed to enter the form, and therefore you may find it troubling,
Oh,
disturbing even, to see people who, in the presence of the Lord, feel free to dance, to jump, to express the joy of God in their body. Thus, it indicates the open space.
yes, that makes sense. Yes. Um,
Many
how?
find it disturbing.
Oh, oh. Well, I am a physician. I have seen many things. How? I look back towards the doors and back at him again. Is it safe in Limehouse after dark from criminals?
Hmm. Under many circumstances, you would be correct,
Hmm?
but you will be safe here. I
Oh,
promise you that.
thank you so much, Father Brown. Yes.
These people, these are my people, and they will not raise a hand to those who come in the name of God.
Oh,
I promise you this.
well, thank you. Very good. Very good. Yes,
And of
Friday.
course, there's also, not so subtly behind that, this is his neighborhood. How many of the people on his block are his followers?
Yeah, probably a lot. But I haven't been asking about him or anything like that, so I'm
Yeah,
in the clear
right.
there at
This,
least.
this guy's potentially got an army.
Yeah, and he's very scary looking. Okay. Well, I thank
Never
him.
mind, never mind, never mind, Mr. Graves, whoever the hell he is,
I've
which
been
we
hoping
haven't
he
even
was
seen
going to
yet.
show up.
We haven't seen him yet.
There's no noise or anything coming from anywhere else in the building that I can make out, is there? Like Graves
If you
tromping around or something?
listen closely, you're pretty sure you can hear several people singing somewhere upstairs.
There's a
It
choir
takes
loft,
you really,
and
yeah,
there's
they're not in the choir
towers.
loft. They're probably in the one of the towers.
Is Is the church
And
big
from this
enough from the
distance,
outside that there could be rooms above the offices in the back?
could be. Depends on how tall the ceilings are back there.
But it doesn't sound like it's coming from there. It's coming from
No,
back towards the
probably the
front of the
towers.
church. Okay.
Yeah, probably one of the towers.
All right.
So maybe people practicing for the choir.
Uh-huh. Yeah, maybe. Okay. All right. So I
Let's
will
let's call it let's call it that, shall we?
yeah, that's what it
People
is.
practicing for the
That's
choir.
definitely what it's got to be.
It's
Okay.
got to be.
So I thank him
And
again.
yep. And
And
he
then
reminds you that you are welcome to bring any and all, that
oh,
all are welcome here.
oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Father Brown. Very kind. Very kind. And then I will take my leave.
Yep.
And um, after I leave the church, what are the people? How they react? Are they acting any differently after I leave? After having been in there for I don't know, quarter of an
Um,
hour maybe.
Other than a few of the people you gave money to will thank you. Yeah.
Okay,
Some of
yeah,
them will approach you to thank you for distributing some money.
okay, but nobody's like glaring at me or
So,
uh,
if anything, their
give me.
reaction may be a bit more positive.
Oh boy. Okay, so he owns these people. All right, good to know.
I suspect everyone on this block is his friend.
Oh, okay, that's terrifying. Okay,
So the
so
entire assemblage of Old Vickerslade. How many people live at Old Vickerslade?
hundreds possibly
Yeah, let's go with several hundred.
because they're going to be crammed in those houses like sardines in a can. Um,
Yeah, some of those places are 20, 30 people to a room.
just want to be attacked by 20 kids, 20 crippled kids coming at me and beating the shit out of me.
Yep.
So
That's listen. Much of his army
I'm out.
are cripples and widows
Yeah,
and the blind and the lame. On the other hand, there's hundreds of them.
I'm terrified. Okay, so I guess Illingsworth went to Dover. He's going to be gone for a couple days. So I'm going to
Yep.
talk to Edgeworth and Baker that
Okay.
afternoon or whenever I see them again. I'm going to info dump everything.
Yep.
He owns that block. There's probably hundreds of vagrants, homeless, poor people there
Oh, they're
that
not homeless. They live in
oh,
totally
they
shitty
live in
places, but they're
yeah.
not home.
They're
Yeah,
terrible.
they have
They're
a
just
home.
yeah. He owns
It's
that
it's a
place.
it's a shitty place to live, but it's a place.
I'm going to tell him about the strings. I'm going to tell him about the Egyptian holding his hand,
Does any of you?
Thoth, and all this stuff. I'm going to tell him about
Oh,
the ink all over his hands, like he's doing a lot of writing. The singing coming from one of the two towers, tall tower, small tower.
yep.
Um,
You two are also out to make a religion roll then.
yeah, I'm just as much as I can remember him saying to me, exactly as he said it, if possible.
Absolutely. Two things. One, does Baker tell Edgeworth about the melting?
Yes, I share with you
Okay.
my writings and drawing of it depicting the best of my ability.
Do you tell me?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll show you too. I'm
Yeah.
not
Okay. Okay.
hiding it.
Yeah. And you'll Illingsworth will
And
probably learn that when he gets back.
Yeah.
As
We'll
you
and
say.
info
the
dump everything.
Yeah.
and the second thing is, does Dr. Payne tell us about the smooth floors
Mm-hmm.
of the church?
Paul, I'm going to try to tell everything that I can remember. And if I don't remember everything,
Yeah.
I'll remember it later and I'll tell you polished floors, empty room, the shakers, his comparison to the shakers. That sounds kind of like convulsions to me, um,
Yep.
Hmm.
as
Well,
it is somewhat disturbing.
if people do dance
To my
during their
mind,
ceremonies,
They dance, but it
yeah,
sounds like crazy
yeah,
dancing.
yeah.
I
Well,
just give
there's
you
also
my
that.
everything that I can remember.
yeah, my mind is stuck on the polished floors and the acidic damage caused to the basket. Maybe there's a connection there.
Mm, I hadn't thought of that.
Except the floor was even, whereas the basket was worn down in a few spots where the thing touched it.
The floors look like the
So
original floors, right?
yeah, they just ripped the pews out and then buffed the floors.
No,
Well, yeah.
I mean, because like
Extreme
the
movement will
stone
do
would
that
be,
to wood. So yeah.
yeah.
Thoth.
Oh, I thought it was a stone floor.
Do they get anything from all this crap that I tell them? Yeah, what about the
Well,
strings? What the hell is up with that? I have a pocket
well,
watch.
a religion roll will tell you that. That's why I asked you, the other two of you, to make a religion roll.
I failed.
I also failed.
Oh God.
Outside, I know outside of the game why, but I can't say.
The strings. You know what how the strings work
Could
outside
you
the game?
look it up?
Actually, yeah, or bring someone. Eventually, you will be able to work it out. So do you want to? Do you know what the strings actually are?
No, I don't know what they are. What are
Are
they?
there knots tied in the strings?
Yeah,
No, it's just two
Oh,
pieces
then
of
it's
thread, red and black, right?
yeah. No, they are. They true story. They are actually, and your characters will eventually learn this because you'll ask someone to just look it up eventually.
Yeah, we'll look it up.
They are actually an ancient Hebrew way of determining sunset.
Huh.
When the light fails to the point where you cannot
Yeah,
distinguish
when
red
they're
from black,
both the same color.
it is sunset. Yeah. In
Okay,
other words, it's a way of determining when sunset occurs without a watch.
but I have a watch. He
Yeah,
also
but
noted that
that
we would be
but
safe.
the people who wrote the Torah didn't.
No, no, I know. Uh,
So it's a timekeeping device for people who existed before watches.
he noted that we would be protected going to and from Limehouse to the church at night.
It also means, though, another important connection. Notice his connection to the Old Testament stuff, to the
Yeah.
Torah, where we've seen that's where the phrase
Yeah.
Nephilim appears.
And someone is up in those towers singing.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So this guy knows his Old Testament, and if that's true that the Nephilim and visitors are the same thing, there's another connection. He keeps time the way the Old Testament people did.
What is the
And
connection?
notice his he when he said the true Sabbath,
Yeah, True Sabbath. I picked up on that Friday. But the
which
Sabbath
is
for
which is which is
that's not the Jewish Sabbath though. The Jewish Sabbath is Saturday, right?
Jewish Sabbath begins Friday night,
Oh, okay. My
sundown.
character doesn't know that. I didn't know that.
Oh.
In Judaism, the day begins at sundown.
Oh.
So when he said the true Sabbath, he's not picking on Puritans who are upset at people who break Sunday Sabbath. And there's a lot of those in England, by the way. If you didn't know any better, you'd assume he's just being angry at Puritans who hate people who don't keep the Sunday Sabbath. He's talking about the Old Testament Hebraic Sabbath that begins on Friday night.
I
So
feel it
again,
best to
he's,
mention
he's
that
attached to the old.
I feel it best to mention that I have a 5 a.m. start tomorrow. So
So we should probably think about wrapping up sooner rather than later. Okay.
Either way.
Well, I think the next thing to do then is to attend Lord Vauxhall's party, where you will meet Helen again, if that's your intention.
Hmm.
And if you do have to start early, we can leave things off before getting there, as we've gone quite a ways now. Oh, one more little thing
Yeah,
you
we've
will
gotten a
you
lot
will
done tonight.
yeah, one more little thing you will know. There are apparently, and there are references to this in a couple of books. I'll have to look up the detail, but is a church in the north of England, and I want to say either Sclathford or Clive, that has something similar to what you saw, the depiction of Thoth
Thoth.
up there. Although one theorist suggests that it is not Thoth, it is the Babylonian deity Zathakwa,
Once
mistaken
more
for
we
Thoth.
return. Once more we return to Babylon.
Exactly. And if you ask Professor Blythe, he will point out that Zathakwa is the name Zathakwa appears in a number of incantations he's familiar with, one of which that he knows follows the same version. Essentially, it's the same style of text as the original Enzilu tablet,
Mm.
not the one that was stolen, the first one,
The hell was he
where the word
printing?
Enzilu first appears. Because remember, the word Enzilu appears only twice,
He also said he
once in
knew
each
me.
tablet.
He said he knew me.
Yes, he did.
I'm telling that to Edgeworth and Baker, and I'll be telling that to Illingsworth too.
Yeah, yeah, he claimed he knew you.
What was the name of this god again?
Zathakwa?
Zathakwa?
How do you spell that?
No, not really. Uh,
Ithaqua.
uh, no, not Ithaca or Ithaqua.
Is it with a
Not,
Z or is it an A at the
yeah,
beginning?
a Z at the
So
beginning.
Zathakwa. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm just
something
spelling
like
it.
that.
I'm
Yeah,
spelling it phonetically. I can look it up later.
it's transliterated, so spell it however you like.
Okay.
It's one of those things like You know how many ways there are to spell the word Hanukkah in English?
No, I
22.
don't. 22.
There are 22 spellings of the word Hanukkah in English.
Okay.
Well, that's what happens when you transliterate.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to spell a word that was originally written in a language that doesn't use our alphabet.
Mm.
So you've got all sorts of different ways to spell it. Like, should you begin with an H or with a CH?
Hmm.
Because in English, we don't have a letter that makes the H sound.
Yeah.
We simulate that with a CH. In Hebrew, there's a letter that's pronounced H. So
Well,
we don't have that letter. So we have to fake it.
are you going
That's
to
why I say, can
pursue?
I spell Zavakwe? Hell, I don't know. Any way
Are
you
you
like.
are you going to pursue your relationship with? I think you should continue pursuing this relationship with Miss Delacourt, Edgeworth. You,
For the foreseeable future, for the purposes of this investigation, absolutely.
yes, yes. Well, she's
So,
very.
would you like to formally invite her to the ball with you?
Yes, do it.
It it would give us a good excuse to have her adjacent to us for your mesmerism.
You're very right. It would.
I will send a formal invitation.
All right.
Do you
And
think
that then. I'm
that I
sorry, go ahead.
I should bring up? I haven't told my wife yet about going down to the magistrate, but it could make an interesting conversation, especially if I bring it up in front of Miss Delacourt. Possibly
Mm.
after we try to mesmerize her, if she even allows it, or if she refuses. Um, that this bounder claimed to know me. Oh my goodness! And then drop his name and perhaps see if she reacts.
Hmm.
Hmm.
That's not going to like destroy my reputation to know I was accused of something like this if it becomes more public knowledge. Will it, Kevin? Do I think? Do you want me to make an etiquette check to see if this is a bad
Probably
idea?
not. It depends on how you carry. It depends on how you carry it out.
Okay.
It's the kind of thing that could end badly if you do it wrong.
Okay. Oh my.
You might get an etiquette roll in the moment.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. It's the
my
kind of thing
etiquette's
that you,
not great. It's okay. It's not great.
yeah, you can mess it up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It'll do some real damage. Hopefully, not the case.
Eh,
Okay, so let us take a look at the calendar. Then is what I was trying to remember to do. There it is. So today is the 11th. The problem is 2 weeks' time takes us to Christmas
yeah,
Day,
that's right on
Right.
Christmas.
That'll be the 25th.
and
We
then
could do. I mean, the we could do 3 weeks, and that would be New Year's Day.
yeah,
Uh, we could just say holiday hiatus and come back on the 8th.
is that okay with everybody?
Yeah, that works for
January
me.
8th. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine by me.
I'm on
That
break
works.
then. So do we want to move up to 7 p.m.?
7.
Yeah.
I'm fine with 7 p.m.
Yeah,
7
Okay.
p.m. on the
Yeah,
8th.
works for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't have these stupid early mornings in January. Okay, so 7 p.m. January 8th. That works. All right. Well, in that case, as I know some of you have stupid early mornings like I've had all semester, I wish you good luck with that. I do not. I have that on Friday, so not today.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, but
Oh
anyway.
my. Okay.
All right. Well, take care, all.
Thank you for
You too.
understanding.
Hey,
yeah.
no
We're gonna
problem.
end the stream.
Thank you.
Bye,
Okay.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, all.
Bye.